and quits.
Well, it looks sunny here, but I can tell you we've had a real wintry weekend. A lot of rain, a lot of wind, pretty cold, and it'll be a wet weather game for much of the match. Welcome to Graham Corns, welcome to everybody. Graham, the most important game for Hawthorn and Adelaide this year, without doubt.
It's a big game for both of them, probably more important for Adelaide because it can consolidate, and the weather and the conditions will come into play. There's no doubt about that. We've had plenty of rain, it's windy out there, and it probably will rain throughout the night.
Crows win, they play finals football. Hawthorn win, they're back in the top four. They need the top four for the double chance. The projections, well, Adelaide could go as high as 6 and as low as 10, and Hawthorn could be up to 4th, but as low as 8th by the end of the home and away season.
Look, Adelaide have got some momentum, Bruce. I'm not sure where they can finish 6th, but they've won a couple that nobody really expected they would have about a month ago. Hawthorn, on the other hand, having been such strong contenders all year, just looking a bit shaky.
Adelaide have put teams away, haven't they, in the last few weeks? Here they come out with Mark Rasciuto, their captain. More about him in a moment. Darren Jarman, a big game for him too, as always. But Adelaide's winning margins have been really impressive over the last 4 games compared with the first 7 when they won. They were winning by small margins early, and yet when they went over there in round 15 to Colonial and belted the Saints, it's as if they started to free themselves up, didn't they?
Look, it's significant, Bruce. There's a definite shift in the way they've been playing the game. Their game plan has changed in the last month. When they won those games early in the year, they were winning with dour, competitive one-on-one tussles. They've thrown the shackles off. They're playing good, strong attacking football. They're on the front foot. They're assertive, and it's shown in the results. It does make them a bit vulnerable, though, for a team who can shut them down one-on-one.
Mark Rasciuto, how important? He's symbolic of the way they've freed up. 10 goals over the last 3 weeks, 5 last week.
Well, he's well, Bruce. At the start of the year, he's having a lot of trouble with the rib and the breathing condition, but he's looking powerful, and everything he does has got that hint of power. The way he goes at the ball, the way he kicks, and the way he's leading the team. He's really relishing the leadership role at the moment.
There's a Gary Hocking factor today at Shell Stadium. Is there a Darren Jarman factor today? It could be the last time we see the genius play at Footy Park.
I don't think the crowd believes that. That's Darren Jarman at
North Adelaide in the old days with Mick Noonan. You were coaching him this night as a South Australian player, and you were coaching him against him this night when he played on Andrew Jarman, didn't he?
Look, it's so ironic. They both played their first AFL games opposed to each other, and who was to know that he'd come back to Adelaide and play such a prominent part in their premiership. So he's a great player. We would hope it's not the last time we see him because he's been so important.
Stable line-up, Vardy the only inclusion.
And intriguing also with those big players, Biglands and Marsh, they've consolidated. Vardy, well, he hasn't been a part of their last month's successes. He'll be used spasmodically, I would think, off the bench in bursts, but he's still important. He'll still take a very good defender, and he's still very dangerous around goals.
Now, the Hawks have been so good early this year. Chick, by the way, not playing for them, so that's an important out, and young Osborne will come in. We'll show their side in a moment. But they have been on top of the table for much of the first 8 weeks. They've been in the top 4, which means double chance for the last 19 weeks, and yet it could all slip away, having won just 5 out of their last 12 games.
Look, there's some cracks that are showing, there's no doubt about it. You've had the bit of drama and the controversy with Shane Crawford, their captain. They've had crucial injuries at critical times. They look a bit stronger today, but it's a tough ask to come to Adelaide in these conditions.
You know Sean Wren so well. You were his inaugural AFL coach. First time he plays at Footy Park against his old club today. How does he respond?
He's got a great heart, and he does respond well to challenges. He's had to overcome so many challenges in that AFL career he's had. How the crowd will react to him is going to be interesting. There'll be an element, I think, not particularly happy he's at Hawthorn rather than Adelaide, but he'll play well. He will rise to the occasion, even though he's underdone.
Perry kicked 5 last week. Stevens kicked 5. Who picks them up, and how will they handle them, the Hawks?
Hay probably on Stevens and Rawlings on Perry. But they've got enough balance in their lineup, Hawthorn. They're very good in terms of the matchups between talls and shorts and strong running players. if that's not the matchup, they've got Graham who can go back in defence, and Crode, if they're in trouble there, he'd probably move from forward into defence also to cover somebody who's on top.
So 4 changes for the Hawks today. Chick out, didn't make the team. Harford comes in with Smith, Michael Osborne's first game in Wren. Do you like the inclusions?
Look, they look stronger, there's no doubt about it. Osborne is the interesting one. He's a Queenslander. He's from Labrador in Queensland, under 17 AIS squad member, so he's an All-Australian. He's got good grounding. He won't play a prominent part. I think he'll come off the bench. But with Harford, Smith and Wren, they're very important players, and Hawthorn looks stronger because of their inclusion. Could
be an important toss to win with so much wind about. They're the Hawks. The Crows are out there. Neil Curley will be on the boundary line. We'll be joined up here, Cornsey, by Robbo and also Tony McGuinness. Looking forward to the opening bounce right after this.
At these prices, don't miss being a part of the action at Repco.
Bendix, the best-known name in brakes. Bendix Ultimate Disc Brake Pads designed for high-performance vehicles from just $89.95. Bosch, Super 4 spark plugs improve performance and economy, 4-pack $38.95. Munro Sensor Track delivers comfort when you want it, control when you need it. Shockers from $129 a pair. Shell, Helix Super 5 litre $17.95 and multigrade 4 litre $11.45.
At Repco, we know what it is, we know where it goes.
He couldn't believe he got straight through to me. He thought he'd get a computer.
If you'd rather speak to a real person, call Amy on 13 22 44.
We started playing cricket, and I hit the ball so high that Uncle Mark, he forgot where he was going. He tried to catch the ball and landed face first in the mud. It was so funny, Dad. You should have been there.
Juby and Max, the very best of friends. Until dinner time.
That was a worry, wasn't it?
So if your pet is just mad about mealtime, don't miss all new Harry's Practice, tonight, 6:30. Then, on Surprise Chef, the challenge is set.
Hi.
Hi.
To take cucumber, chicken and chives and turn them into a meal.
It's for real?
Yeah. This is going to be some fun now.
You'll be surprised what you can cook up tonight
Magnificent.
on 7 Surprise Chef.
Welcome back to Footy Park here. The Crows in a bunch. Mark Rasciuto waiting to toss the coin. And Neil Curley down on the boundary line. And Curls, what are the conditions like? And welcome, by the way.
Yeah, thanks, Bruce. Well, mainly for the Melbourne viewers who haven't experienced the weather out here this week. As you've said, we've had a lot of rain. There's a pretty strong southwesterly blowing. There's a lot of blue sky coming our way, so hopefully we'll see some fine conditions, because at the moment the ground's in perfect condition. There'll be a lot of high marks taken. It's a bit swirly, so it is a blustery condition. The centre bounce is, the pad's been taken out, by the way. The centre bounce is pretty firm. I would say there'll be a lot of good, skillful footy, but the wind is going to test out quite a few players' judgment in the air, because it is swirly, it is blowing left to screen, and I would think that end would be favoured by maybe 2 goals. So whichever side wins the toss,
Hawthorn have won it, girls.
well, I would think they would go to left of screen.
Well, Hawthorn have won it, and I think they might be going... Sean Wren, by the way, tossed the coin, which was a really interesting thing, and they're going to the right, Curl. So catch up with you down there. Robbo and Tony McGuinness join Graham. Of course, Robbo, I'm not calling today. The old voice went on Friday night, and I'm just trying to hang on for dear life. How are you, boys?
Thanks for the hand pass, Bruce, and we'll be doing as good a job as we can, I'm sure, with Tony and Graham, and looking forward to this. Gee, there's a lot resting on it, isn't there, for both sides, and it's a pity we didn't get a perfect day here, but I'm sure they'll contend with it.
Well, it's interesting also that Hawthorn, winning the toss, have decided to kick against the breeze, Robbo. I wonder if that possession game that they play, where they hang on to the football, particularly in the back half of the ground, will suit them. That may be a reason why they have kicked against the breeze, just to keep the game in their grasp in the first quarter. The last thing they want is a blowout early in the game.
Well, of course, they're minus a few of their good players. They're going to start there with that group of players on the interchange. Brett Johnson, Nathan Loney, Stephen Green, and the newcomer Michael Osborne. Adelaide will start with Byrne, Vardy, Marsh and Eccles. There's Joel Smith, who we believe is very prominent as far as all Australian selection discussions are concerned, and he's going with Rashuda at the start of the game by the look of it. Gee, there's a big crowd in here, and a lot of expectation, Graham, from all supporters and, of course, the viewers back home in Melbourne.
Well, it was a sellout crowd. Now, the weather will keep a few people away who have already bought seats, but the Crows have got momentum. There's no doubt about that. Hay has gone on to Jarman. The one you've pointed out, Smith onto Rashudo, is interesting. We'll just try and see who's going to run with McLeod. It looks like Harford looking at him quite closely in the centre there. But that'll be a critical matchup too.
Nigel Smart gone with Trent Crode by the look of it at half forward. Now the game underway, and the Hawks are straight onto the football. A hand pass out wide, and the opportunity with McCabe. He kicks the ball towards half forward, certainly within goal scoring range as far as Hawthorn are concerned. The umpires found a free kick for a holding incident in that marking contest, and it will go to Adelaide. Stenglijn's hand pass goes to Hart. Hard out wide. Chance here for Burton. The ball bounces quite nicely for him. Left foot kick by Burton towards half forward. No mark taken. Spillage. The ball hits the ground close to the boundary line. Rashudo tried to play it to his own advantage. Stevens was pretty good. So was Edwards. Back to Rashudo. Rashudo's kick to the front of the goals. It covers the players there and rolls over for a boundary throw in. Right forward pocket for the Crows.
And Jade Rawlings very keen to spoil Mark Stevens in that first attack for the Crows. It looked promising. Stevens has been so very, very good, and Rawlings not leaving anything to chance.
Mark Graham on Perry at the start of the game, and already dispossessed there was Perry. A little kick comes out right in front of the Crows' goal, and under a lot of pressure back there was Dent. He got his right foot to the ball and managed to kick it clear for a boundary throw-in. Left forward pocket for Adelaide, only a matter of 20 metres around, and the expected maximum, I don't know whether we'll see 14 degrees. It's just a very ordinary day. A little bit of sun shining now, but strong breeze blowing at the back of the Crows. The goal has been kicked by Mark Stevens, first score.
Well, it's an opportunist goal. The ball's come over the back of the pack. He's pounced on it. He didn't have too much time to look at the goals, but he's shown a real instinct to kick goals. Bit of a fumble there by Rawlings, but he didn't need much encouragement, Stevens. Found the ball, turned to his right, and just found the space through there. It's a pretty good start for him.
Stevens has nearly become one of the Crows' most critical players as well. Of course, playing most of the year at centre-half back, kicking 5 goals up forward last week against North Melbourne, becomes an integral part of the forward line.
So the umpire wastes no time, and pretty good bounce. Johnson dispossessed. Ball spills back towards the middle. Chance there for Hart. Missed his target with a hand pass. Barlow kicks the Hawks forward. They're a chance here to score. Oh, great punch away at the back by Bassett. Defensive work there was excellent by Bassett, and he will force a boundary throw.
Well, he's watching the ball. Look, he just gets to that typical left-handed spoil, but the ball just held up a little bit in the breeze, and that was great courage by Bassett. Good defensive, negating roll.
Knocked away by the Crows. Goodwin's hand pass, Bassett. Left foot kick by Bassett goes out wide. Edwards leads in the race for the ball, gathers it quite nicely. He's on centre wing. He's being forced back further towards the Hawthorn goal. He's still got hold of it. Didn't cover a great deal of territory. Shirley now straightens up and then dragged off the football as he went to kick. Gathered by Ops, who I read in the paper has only played his 5th game today in 5 years, Graham.
He had an ankle injury last year which slowed him down. It's only his 2nd game this year.
Well, a great performance there. Nathan Thompson dragged to the ground. Hand pass was wild. And the boundary umpire will throw it in just forward of centre wing, nearly up to left half forward for Hawthorn.
Just those key midfield matchups as well. It looks like Richie Vandenberg, number 21 for Hawthorn, has got the job on the dangerous Andrew McLeod.
Smart over the top of Thompson, knocked away by Goodwin. Thompson, and the umpire will be forced to bounce. That is Vandenberg there on screen over the top there of Nathan Thompson.
He's a good goer too, isn't he?
Yep.
Richard Vandenberg.
Very disciplined, and it's going to be a disciplined performance by the Hawks if they're to get over the Crows today. Up high there was Biglan's out wide. Burton's little handball close to the boundary line. It may have gone over, it has. So the umpire will throw it in. It's between wing and left half forward favouring the Hawks. The only goal of the game so far has been kicked by Mark Stevens for Adelaide.
And Sean Wren playing his familiar role. He goes straight into the back play. That's what he likes to do. Sit a kick behind the play, just sit there, wait for the long ball to come down. He reads the play beautifully.
I don't think Gary Ayres will let him sit there by himself, though, for too long.
Smart's little kick, Barlow. Handball went to the wrong player. Johnson, Bickley. That was Kane Johnson and Mark Bickley. Mark has been taken by Wren at half-back. Plays on quickly. Don't quite know who that kick was meant for. It missed both Jade Rawlings and Anthony Rock by a reasonable margin.
Mark Rashudo complaining to the umpire about something. I think he was forced under the board by Joel Smith and said, well, come on, watch it.
Boundary throw in, right half forward for Adelaide. Wren doing the ruck work. He's got hold of the football. He's been reasonably well tackled there by Welsh and brought to the ground. So the umpire will have to bounce. Our umpires today are Andrew Coates, Mark Nash and Darren Goldspink. Andrew Coates with the football. Not a great deal of height in the bounce. Goodwin did well. Ball goes forward. Rashudo, McLeod. Oh, he shrugged the tackle. McLeod goes for goal and pops it through. Second goal to Adelaide.
We won this game, but have the Kiwis found one they can beat us at?
Oh, fantastic!
Experts at making money.
Well
done, buddy.
They show you how to turn $10,000 into a fortune.
$250 cash. The deal.
Aussies battling the clock.
But wait, there's more.
And the Kiwis. See how to get rich quick.
Couldn't say a word.
The premiere special, The Money Game. Tonight, 7:30 on 7.
So back here at Football Park, the Crows have got 2 goals on the scoreboard. Hawthorn yet to score. Excellent bounce. Wren got first hand to it, kick forward there by Bickley. Mark taken there by Burton. Controlled the football and plays on, goes long, big long kick. Well marked back there by Jonathan Hay for the Hawks.
It wasn't a good kick. Darren Jarman led to the left and the kick went to the right. Just made it impossible for him.
Very much the defensive side of the ground to where Hay is kicking the ball, and he's kicked it too far. It's out on the full.
Graham, as a coach, you've won the toss. You've got dry conditions in a wet, threatening day, and you kick into the breeze, and then the rain comes. Not a good one, I don't think.
Well, sometimes you just need to shake the guys up, and they do try harder if they're going to the breeze.
Shirley's kick to the square. Goodwin maybe a little surprised about the fact that the football landed in his hands there unopposed. Handball out. Rashudo, he's well tackled, should be penalised, and is.
Well, 3-on-1, he was trying to break the tackle, but the Hawthorn players geared themselves for it. They know he's strong. They've wrapped him up beautifully.
Kicked away there for Hawthorn by Harford. Wren is marked, and it looks as if he's quite prepared to waste a bit of time here.
Crowd's giving him a fair reception. Quite a few boos around the crowd.
We'll find a lot of the play out, that outer side of the ground in this first quarter, with Hawthorn just wanting to keep the game in its hands, just run the clock down, maintain possession.
8 minutes into the term, and that's a mark, isn't it, to the Hawks. Man in front.
Looked like
it
the man in
might
front
be
had it.
Barlow, is it? Biglands was there.
Yeah, no, Red Biglands had first grab of it.
He did have a good grab of it, didn't he, Red Biglands? But the umpires decided to bounce. They don't get much height out there, so obviously very soft turf. Nigel Smart and John Barker race for the footy.
It won't be pretty football in the first quarter. Certainly Hawthorn just running the ball out that outer side of the ground, just wanting to maintain possession, keep the Crows in its hands and just keep them in control in the first quarter.
Well, there's a lot of pressure on, isn't there, when you're kicking, decided to kick against the breeze when you've won the toss, as Neil Curley has already referred to. And it's going to be important that they... What would be a fair score? 4 goals to 1, maybe?
Or 3-4 to 1. But if they can hold, if they can play this other side of the ground well and keep the ball locked out there and frustrate the Crows, if they can do that, it gives them a better chance than perhaps wasting the first quarter if they used it.
The other thing Hawthorn will do is they'll push players back and just get numbers around the ball. And we're seeing here at the stoppages, boundary throw-ins and around the ground, 20-odd players around the ball. That will continue for pretty well all the day, certainly the first quarter with Hawthorn against the breeze.
Only 4 players in the forward half of the ground as far as the Hawks are concerned. I always wonder, you know, when on a day like this where it can be quite taxing, you know, you've got the advantage of going with the breeze in the last term, but you've got the disadvantage of everyone being quite dog-tired too.
Yeah, but everyone's tired, and it's the same for everyone. And they're fit enough to run out 4 quarters now anyway.
So we're watching Daniel Harford. Gee, that was a good tackle. A terrific tackle by Bickley. He's rewarded because the umpire felt that Daniel Harford obviously had a chance to get rid of it. So Bickley will shoot for goal.
I'm not sure he had a chance to get rid of it, but the tackle nevertheless was rewarded. Mark Bickley, what a fantastic season he's had.
Bickley goes short, looking for Jarman. Couldn't take the mark. Wren was there and eventually knocked over by Shirley.
So there's no space there. Hawthorn have flooded back. There's every player in Adelaide's forward line at the moment. There is just no space to move into. Look, it's a great tackle. It's almost the perfect tackle. And perhaps Daniel Harford held the ball a little bit long.
So we're watching from the boundary throw in Mark Stevens and Jade Rawlings. Nothing coming of that. So umpire Darren Goldspink in that area of the ground. We've had, since I arrived in Adelaide at about 10 o'clock this morning, a couple of heavy showers here at Football Park and always looking quite threatening. Now, the umpire's found a free kick. It will go to Hawthorn.
Sean Wren.
And Sean Wren.
He started very well. If he's feeling any nerves, he's certainly not showing it. It's called to play on here.
And forced in the finish to kick with the left. Out wide and at the back, the mark is taken by Burton. Already Burton has taken 2 marks. That's his 4th possession. Off to Goodwin. Goodwin on the left. Gets the ball spinning beautifully through the air. So the mark not taken by Stevens. Jarman in there also. Rawlings for Hawthorn over the top as Edwards. And the umpire will call for a bounce about 45 metres from the Adelaide goal.
It's one of very few pieces of play early in this first quarter where the Crows have been able to transfer the play, find some space and work it to the grandstand side of the ground. This is the attacking side of the ground that they need to be on, and it's players like Goodwin and McLeod who need to be finding space and working the ball to this side.
So Wren, in his endeavours to get at the football, has interfered with Biglands, and Biglands will take the free kick only 45 metres from goal.
See, Red Biglands has come under the left arm, and that was almost a free kick, but then Sean Wren's frustrated and tried to pull him off the ball. And it was clearly a free kick.
I think he learnt from the one before, Graham.
This is not an easy kick for Red Biglands, although he's got the breeze behind him. He'll make the distance very easily.
Always get a job when he finishes with the Crows as a stand-in for Patrick Swayze.
I think he's about 3 times bigger than Patrick Swayze.
Oh, yeah, well, facially you'll get it though, Graham. Good kick by Biglands.
Oh.
He's docked it. It's the 3rd goal for Adelaide.
Nearest 7 save, thanks, mate.
Just make it $1, sunshine.
So the goal kicker for Adelaide, Rhett Biglands, he's kicked 1. Mark Stevens has kicked 1, and Andrew McLeod has kicked the 3rd. They lead 18-0. Another pretty good bounce, knocked forward by Wren, kicked away by Ben Hart, close to the boundary line, the ball trundling away from players in that area close to the line. A diving effort by Shirley. Up over the top was Leckis.
Peter Schwab starting that centre bounce there with 2 Hawthorn players behind the line, so they had Crows effectively having an 8-man forward line. So it's a very negative tactic that Peter Schwab is taking in, but the right play kicking against a strong breeze.
Yeah, but Adelaide have done what they've had to do with the 3 first goals, so they've probably just hold the ascendancy here.
Umpires found a free kick. It'll go to Joel Smith. Every player is in the half of the ground over at where Joel Smith is now. No one on this side of the ground.
That's where Hawthorn wants to keep it, Robbo.
Yep. Close to the line, and Johnny Barker.
It's three goals in the first 14 minutes, Graham. It's a pretty good return by the Crows, isn't it? I mean, it's threatening to open up for them.
Well, given the fact that Hawthorn have been pretty defensive, but Hawthorn are just hoping that they can break and have strong running players to carry the ball into their forward line without starting players in those key positions forward.
Burton's high kick is again close to the boundary line. Vandenberg thought he might have been nearly awarded a free kick there for a push. He has been. Just taken completely out of that marking contest.
Yeah, McLeod's gone to the half-forward flank. Prosciutto's gone to the ball. Vandenberg's gone with McLeod, and Joel Smith is running with Mark Prosciutto.
Quite prepared to hang on to the ball, which is what Tony McGuinness mentioned before the game. And he sapped up quite a few precious seconds there. Kicked away by Biglands, back towards half-forward. Running in front is Stevens. He's taken the mark, plays on, away from Rawlings, into the pocket, chance for Adelaide. And Perry couldn't quite grasp the football. Mark Graham there on Ian Perry. And Graham...
The man tagged was no, Graham was trying to con the umpire. He said, look, he pushed me in the chest, what about a free, but that's the pocket Adelaide don't want the ball in.
Boundary throw in, and up over the top was Wren, bashes it clear for another throw in. So the time clock ticking over. We're nearly up to the 16-minute mark now of the first term. Adelaide 3 goals, Hawthorn yet to score. Again, that boundary thrown. Bigland's got the front spot. Joel Smith's little kick. Left behind by Vandenberg. McLeod's kick ineffective. Burton caught from behind. Could have nearly been penalised. The ball spills. Bickley, McLeod. Good tackle by Tallis on that occasion. Edwards and Harford close to the line. And Adelaide desperately trying to get the ball out of that right forward pocket. Bit of a dead area as far as goal scoring is concerned.
Hawthorn's tackling at the moment is a real feature of this game.
Wren prepared to belt it clear again. Harford's little kick. Not too bad under the circumstances. It comes back to Prosciutto. McCabe is his man. Gathered there by Barker. He's well tackled by Hewitt. Gang tackled because Ben Hart was in there as well. And the umpire can do nothing more than bounce, and the ball about 65, 70 metres from the Adelaide goal.
Robert, we saw in a previous piece of play where Rick Biglands in a stoppage got the ball in his boot and just belted it forward quickly. That's what the Crows need to do with so many players around the football. Mark Stevens also taking the mark from Biglands' kick, worked himself back inside and played on quickly. That's what they need to do. You've got 20 or 25 players around the ball. You just need to be moving the ball quickly, making most advantage of the breeze.
Well, on this occasion, the ball spilt down for Anthony Rock to kick it forward. Awkward bouncing ball. And on the end of it there was Crowd. He couldn't quite control it. That might have been out on the full, was it?
Kicked it off the ground and it went out of bounds on the full.
And Leckis was the infringing player. Hewitt will take the free kick.
Right behind us now. Grey clouds starting to look very threatening.
Well, if the rain comes, you would think 10 or 11 goals might be a winning score in this match. Already, Adelaide have got 1/3 of that score. McLeod might add to it. McLeod, he's carried, he's kicked another one. A tackle to the centre player.
This RAA symbol has always represented the pinnacle in motor service standards. Earning RAA endorsement is the toughest test of all. One service group has set their sights on this ultimate goal, to offer nothing less than the highest standards, and so earn the right to display the RAA symbol at every one of its outlets. Not surprising, that group is UltraTune. There are 15 UltraTune service centres and they're all RAA approved. UltraTune, in tune with you and your car.
Gee, 2 goals now to Andrew McLeod, and Adelaide 4 goals straight, lead Hawthorn yet to score.
And this is the dangerous time for Hawthorn. 18-minute mark, 4 goals on the board for the Crows. It could really open up here.
They've had a fair bit of the play. They've been up to their half-forward line on a couple of occasions. Gee, that's wonderful control. Kick forward here by Welsh. Left foot kick to the square. It might bounce through for... Oh, it went all the way to the right-hand side. Stevens and Leckus in that little contest.
I tell you what, Biglands is doing a pretty good job on the ruck against Sean Wren. And now trotting forward. He's not going to let Sean Wren play loose in Adelaide's forward line. He's running forward to match up with him.
Adelaide 4 goals. Hawthorn yet to score. Wren trying to get at the football. Chance there for Goodwin. Gets the handball to Biglands. Can he get his second? Oh, he tries the check side. He's done it too far, I think.
Fellas, you think for the sake of the Hawthorn supporters back in Melbourne, fair question to ask Steve and Nick why they decided to kick against the Breeze?
Well, because I can only...
a question to ask the coach afterwards, but the only reason they would have done it is they wanted to ensure that they started well and didn't waste first use of the Breeze.
I can't work that one out.
You're forever chasing backsides, Neil. I'm sure you're thinking along those lines.
Exactly. And it's far easier as a coach to organise a game when you're leading than when you're trailing.
Yeah, but if you waste the Breeze in the first quarter, you can never get back into it.
Johnny Barker, that was a good grab on centre wing. He kicks the ball forward. That's probably equal to the Barker mark taken by Hewitt at half-back for Adelaide. Looks one way and then goes to the defensive side of the ground, but he finds Rashudo, who's got plenty of time to steady, kick it forward. Mark taken back there by Sean Wren.
He's done that pretty well. He's taken 4 marks, he's had 4 kicks and 4 hit-outs, and now you can see the tactic, just trying to hold it up, slow it down, punch the ball down. Oh, he's going to come inside.
He goes short. It's okay because Graham is marked. Now this is a little risky, but that kick's okay. Jonathan Hay can go over the top, and his fellow defender in Rawlings gathers. Hay does fairly well. They've got 2 on 1, but the one for Adelaide is Burton. The Birdman over the top. Good vision, went short. Mark is taken by Biglands. Oh, the kick smothered off the boot. Hawthorn defence under pressure. McLeod for his third. Missed.
About to be interchanged, Wren.
Well, Andrew McLeod is human.
Well, he's brilliant, Graham, isn't he? I mean, every time the ball is in dispute, his skills are just so good, and there was a lot of talk before the game about the wet, wintry conditions. What would that do for the quality Crows players? But you find quality midfielders handle the ball just as well in these type of conditions.
Oh, he's got the best hands in the competition there. He just takes the first grab every time. Rain falling fairly heavily now.
McKay playing on Goodwin as well, Graham, that other matchup in the midfield.
4-2-26 Adelaide lead. Hawthorn yet to score. Kick out wide by Joel Smith. Now the desperation by the players shown at ground level. Mark Stevens there. He's being penalised.
Oh, you hate that rule, don't you?
Well, Darren Goldspeak, the umpire in that area of the ground. The kick goes wide and it's out on the full by the look of it. So Adelaide will take possession of the ball. It's Bassett. Looked for one fleeting second as if he was going to go into the middle. Bickley had made position, but he kicked it long with penetration. Edwards, well tackled by Obst, kicked away by Goodwin to within scoring range. Oh, he's got it, hasn't he, Jarman? Is that a mark? A free kick anyway. Over the top was Matthew Dent infringing, and Jarman.
Gee, Hay is giving him all sorts of a contest here, but no, well, he drops it. But the high tackle is what the free kick was for. The hand around the head. It was a good contest from Jonathan Hay, but his teammate infringed.
Wren trudging off now.
Darren's first touch of the game. One of the most important things of the Crows of the last couple of weeks is that Darren hasn't been a dominant player. They've still been able to kick winning scores.
Pretty good kick of the football though, isn't he? Even in these conditions, he's kicked a goal.
Look at this family deal. You get your choice of 2 large McDonald's burgers plus 2 cheeseburgers, 9 McNuggets, family server fries and a bottle of Coke, only $14.95.
What a meal!
What a deal! That's my boys.
The car's like new. Andy didn't lose his rating 1.
At Amy, if you've held a rating 1 for the last 3 years, you keep it for life. So call Amy.
you thought the fourth goal was the big one, that was a very important one too, wasn't it? Kicked by Darren Jarman, their fifth Adelaide. They lead 5-2, 32. Hawthorn yet to score. And another excellent bounce. And McLeod, on the rare occasion, the ball slipping through his hands.
Hawthorn persisting with starting 2 extra players in their defensive half at centre bounces as well. So Crows effectively an 8-man forward line, 16 players in their front half inside 50, just trying to clog that forward 50 area for the Crows. 5 goals 2 is a good return late in the first quarter for the Crows.
Yes, we're nearly up to time on in the first quarter. And the Hawks are still battling to trouble the scorer. Obst provides a shepherd for Harford. Over the top was Shirley. Harford has the football. No, he doesn't. He's been dispossessed, and the umpire will bounce.
Sean Randy was pretty active. He had 5 kicks, took 4 marks, just wandering around the ground. And Nathan Thompson now has gone onto the ball. I think they'd be worried about Rhett Biglands because he's been really enthusiastic and prominent for Adelaide in the ruck.
Gathered by Burton. Gives away a little bit of ground back to Bassett. He in turn to Hewitt. Hewitt straightens and kicks the ball directly towards full forward. Marking contest, there's none because Hay is marked safely for the Hawks.
12 entries inside 50 for the quarter for Adelaide, 2 to Hawthorn.
Lekis accepting the hand pass. Went high. Barlow was the attempted marker of the football. Edwards at ground level. Goodwin gets reasonable purchase on the kick. Goes to the goal front. Jarman. Hand pass came from Graham to Lekis. Lekis will go for the safety of the boundary line. Gee, they'd be hoping here. Harford's under a bit of pressure, but he was able to get the hand pass away. Obst, in turn, goes to Green. Green is on centre wing. Can the Hawks manage a score here? Green's kick, oh, good mark, a terrific mark. Yeah. When you consider the conditions, that was a top effort.
And great running from the Hawthorn defenders. Obst, Green, Harford, who's actually limping behind play, Daniel Harford.
Barker into the pocket, and that really was a bit of a setup there for Ben Hart to knock it clear.
Yeah, good mark. Not much Nigel Smart could do about that. Daniel Harford limping behind the physio's gone out to him. He's okay, he's hobbling away.
So boundary throw in, certainly within scoring distance. Green, McCabe, left foot, way offline by Luke McCabe. Will go over for a boundary throw in about 20 metres around from the Hawthorn goal.
And the 2 times that Hawthorn have actually come to the grandstand side of the ground, they've actually been able to create the loose play. So you just wonder about the negative tactic, which on paper is probably the right one, playing the outer side, but they've been able to create the loose player coming to the grandstand side. I mean, maybe they should be doing it more often.
Real struggle for possession of the football, and then when you do take possession, it's hard to break clear, isn't it?
Goals will be very, very difficult.
Daniel Harford has gone right and still alongside the behind post. You can't see it here. He's hiding behind the boundary umpire. Get a shot of this alongside the goal umpire.
Off to the right there. And while that was going on, that football with Andrew McLeod bundling over, Aaron Lord on screen.
Well, he went and stood behind the boundary umpire, who's right alongside the behind post. He was hiding from Nathan Bassett, who's gone to pick him up.
Well, there's another tactic that we've introduced into footy. Well done, Lekis. Got the ball to Green. Green's kick to the goal square, marked by Bassett. Standing up pretty well. The kick by Stegline is out wide. Mark taken by Rashudo to Bickley. He's looking to go back to Mark Rashudo. Then missed his target by a reasonable margin. Crowed the tackler. The hand pass was errant in the finish and forces a boundary throw in.
Some players are really good at stopping and going backwards and creating time and space. I'm not sure whether that's Mark Bickley's strongest point, Tony. So he's a real straight-ahead player, isn't he?
The boundary umpire threw it in, and eventually Mark Bickley took the ball away. Mark is taken by Tallis. Handball Green. Back he goes to Rock. Rock the short kick, chopped off by Ben Hart. In his anxieties to maybe play on, he just made a rare error, dropping the football. Edwards got past Barker, then Edwards. Not a bad kick, but it missed Stevens. Rock, hand pass, Thompson, bombs away. So sit under this. The key forwards, they've got a chance here. Not clear by Lord. Crow looking for kicking in danger. Still Lord, tackled by Hewitt. The ball right in front of the Hawthorn goal. And the Adelaide fans would be happy with that result because it will force a bounce.
Well, Hawthorn are looking quite promising at the moment. The Adelaide defence is stretched, but They are just managing to hold on.
A minute and a half left in the term. Hawks desperate for a score. They could do with a goal badly. Lord tried to knock it clear. Barlow. In there is Burton. He's well tackled by Barker. And the umpire gives the all clear for a boundary throw-in. Does he or doesn't he? It still hasn't gone over. Now the umpire's awarded a free kick against Hawthorn. It'll go to Adelaide, and it was taken back there by Tyson Edwards. McLeod, kick off the ground. Hewitt in that area of the ground. So was McLeod, taken by Dent. Dent's left foot kick. A contest at half forward for the Hawks. Chance now for Vandenberg, but Shirley gathers to Rashudo. Rashudo, a long kick, covered 55 to 60 metres, and all of a sudden it's back in the forward half of the ground for Adelaide.
I heard Peter Schwab talking earlier in the day about the physical side of the game and how he'd felt Hawthorn in the second half of the year had come off their physical side. The Crows, of course, it's been one of their #1 strengths, and we're really seeing that today in difficult conditions and a lot of dispute contests with numbers around the ball where the Crows are able to break packs.
Gee, good play by Stevens, wasn't it, to get the ball to Goodwin and to his advantage. The kick went skidding past the players. Rawlings to Mark Graham, and he's going to play the percentages. He's going to go back to that defensive side. McCabe out very wide. Burton hooks the kick. Does he hook it enough? It's still inside the field of play. McCabe left it behind and then kicked it away. Thompson, that will probably be the last passage of play. We're down to 8 seconds. Vandenberg and McLeod. Now, what happened?
There's a free kick being called back here.
Jarman interfered as he was kicking in the back.
Okay.
So we'll go to McCabe by the look of it.
There's been nothing wrong with the intensity from both teams over the last 10 or 15 minutes.
Darren Jarman, the infringing player, minding the mark, and there is the siren. So the pleasure has all been with the Adelaide Crows fans. Their side has kicked 5-2-32. Hawthorn have not scored. Andrew McLeod has kicked 2. Mark Stevens 1. Darren Jarman 1. And Rhett Biglan's 1. So at quarter time, Adelaide lead by 32 points. They're 5-2. Hawthorn yet to score.
Sevens Football Telecast. Proudly brought to you by West End Draft. West End, your thirst. McDonald's, Mac your day. And Mitsubishi Motors, driving your world.
A struggling local club shafted by the footy show.
A few people and a lot of kids down, actually.
They sold hundreds of tickets, but guess who didn't show?
Very bitter towards the show.
The stunt that left a whole town crying. A 7 News exclusive.
For generations, Mitre 10 has been the place to go for Father's Day gifts, like a deluxe resort lounge only $49.95, or an NRG hammer drill, sander, angle grinder or jigsaw, just $39 each.
G'day, Wheat. Where are you? You know the big meeting's about to start. Yeah, I know. Oh, well, you're coming in loud and clear. You must be just round the corner. Yep. I'm on my way.
You'll get clearer reception from more places with Telstra Mobile Net CDMA, the network that gives more coverage to more Australians.
Hello? Mate, where are you now? Oh, it won't be long, Wheat, so I'm just stuck in traffic.
Go with the network that offers you more.
Even though Jeep Grand Cherokee is more refined and civilised than ever, rest assured, it still hasn't lost its animal instincts.
Broken clear, a long 60-metre bomb, big pack forms in the goal square. Oh, what a grab! What an absolute screamer! Oh, that's got to be grab of the year!
Golden draft, thanks.
Forget socks and jocks. Rocker Brothers have some of the best value Father's Day bargains around. And they're all in Rocker's big Father's Day catalogue.
Check out Rocker's large range of wheel covers from $23 a set.
I need some of those.
Handy 15-piece screwdriver set a tiny $9.50.
What a bargain price.
Export degreaser just $1.70 a can or 4 for $6.
I want one of them, one of them. I can't make up my mind. What a bargain.
Well, we're cheaper than the others, so rock and roll the brothers.
Check the catalogue out now.
Vitamin B is important for building muscles and quick reflexes. And one of the world's richest sources of vitamin B is Vegemite. Vegemite, it's a part of growing up.
Tonight on the Know How Show, we're crossing live to Helga and Sandy at a home hardware store. Come in, Helga.
Thanks, Rusty. We're finding out what kids are getting their dads for Father's Day. What does your dad want?
A stainless steel Gerber multiplier or a GMC triple pack with handy carry case.
And you?
A hard point jack cancer.
Well, back to you, Rusty.
Don't you love live television? Father's Day Dog-a-log, out now.
Glenn's here, yeah. He's just a bit busy at the moment.
With Telstra Mobile Net CDMA, you pay for 5 minutes and get the next 15 free. So now you can talk till the cows come home.
No, he seems to have it under control.
Go with the network that offers you more.
Monday night, a Weakest Link special event.
I've been waiting for this one.
3 months in the house was easy, but can they survive 1 hour with Cornelia?
You meant to cause trouble.
Weakest Link Housemates Revenge, Monday, 7:30.
The AFL, in association with its premier partner, Carlton and United, proudly presents the 2001 Premiership season.
Quarter time at Footy Park. The Crows with the breeze lead 5-2. Hawthorn yet to score. Let's go down and join Neil Curley. He's got Stephen Egg with him.
Well, Stephen, the big talking point is, with rain threatening, win the toss and go against the breeze. That was a game call.
Well, Neil, it is a bit of a game, risk, but we calculated risk. We could plan for that. We could set some structures in place to be able to deal with kicking against the breeze, and that's what we did. A couple of indiscriminate free kicks in the finish probably cost us a couple of goals, but we were happy to go in quarter time 3 down with the wind as strong as it is.
OK, what sort of footy are you going to play now to try and get back in the game?
We'll go more conventional this quarter, obviously with a bit of the breeze. We'll get some running midfielders in now that can actually carry the football, kick it long inside 50, and hopefully the forwards can do the rest for us.
It's going to be a tough one. All the best. Back to you, Bruce.
Thanks, Neil. Thanks, Stephen. Other matches today, 3 of them. If you don't want to know what's happening at quarter time, look away now. That's the situation around Australia. We're about to start the second half. Stephen Nick has set it up with Neil Curley. And Adelaide lead by 32 points.
Well, Stephen Nick explained the strategy going to the breeze. It makes sense. Whether it works out in practicality is another thing. One change for Hawthorn coming into the second quarter. Young Nathan Loney has gone over to Brett Burton, who was pretty active on the wing there for the Crows in the first quarter. He had 5 kicks, 4 handballs, took 3 marks, and Matthew Dent has been benched. He was Burton's opponent on the first quarter.
Well, I'll tell you what, this is just going to make it so much harder to handle the ball. There's Andrew Eccles, Peter Vardy and Marsh warming the bench for Adelaide. But I suppose if the breeze drops a bit, it's a little bit better to judge. But, by gee, the wet ball's going to make it difficult. Wren gets first whack at the footy. Johnson shares it with Ben Hart. Hart's kick is good. And Edwards has marked in front of Tallis. Tallis, one of the Hawthorn players who has played every game this year. They've got about 8 or 9 that have played every game. The Adelaide Crows, only 2 or 3, of which one has been Mark Bickley. Lekis, not a lot happening there, and eventually Burton kicks it forward, and he gathered about 25 metres for his side, forces a boundary throw in just inside the forward 50.
See, that's interesting. Burton is on the other wing. See how much ground he's covering there. This is the opposite half-forward flank into the breeze. He is running everywhere.
Just 10 players in the forward half for Hawthorn. Rashudo and Bickley. Gee, we've called that a few times, haven't we? Bickley's kick is high, goes to the goal front, left behind by Welsh, and gathered by Obst. His handball was errant. Kick forward there by Goodwin. Into the pocket. McCabe is back there. He will gather. Takes no risks and kicks the ball along the boundary line, and eventually gathered by Jarman. The short kick, gee, Hawks, you'd be disappointed with that. They were looking for the ball to go over the boundary line. They may have stopped, and expected the ball to go over. Jarman's kept it alive and Welsh has a chance.
I think we can already see too that the Crows in terrific form at the moment are going to continue to play attacking game even though they're against the breeze. They can do that if you've got quality, confident players playing well.
Look at that ball hold up and bounces just inside the boundary line, and Obst has kicked it over on the full.
He's had a tough couple of weeks. Young Chris Obst, who's got a pretty tough opponent today with Scotty Welsh. He had Rowan Smith early last week, who was hard for him.
Quickly onto it was Darren Jarman. It's knocked to the goal square. McCabe! Oh, has he got a foot to it? Looks like it might be Scotty Welsh. But no, it's hurried through for a rush behind. So the first score of the second term is a behind to Adelaide. Hawthorn still to score.
Great desperation, Luke McCabe there, diving flat out. He just had to get a hand on the ball, and he did.
So long kick by Joel Smith straight down the ground, looking for Wren. It spills to the back of the pack. Chance there for Perry. Got the ball to Burton. Burton's mongrel punt kick lands at half forward. Rashudo chopped off by Loney. Loney's kick over his right shoulder, punched away by Johnson. Back towards the middle of the ground. The kick by Perry has been marked by Wren. Looks to play on and does just that. Rawlings forced to kick with the left. Not too bad either. Into the middle of the ground. Graham looks to play on. Hawks a chance here. The kick by Graham slews off the side of his boot and goes out of bounds about 40 metres around from the Hawthorn goal.
Wrong place to put that ball. He had to attack the goal front.
It was a bad kick, Curls, wasn't it?
Oh, terrible position to put the ball.
Well, it was the right idea. He was trying to put it this side of the goalpost, but it just went too far, Curls.
One veteran and three youngsters warming the bench there. Matthew Dent, a lot spoken about him over the summer about being an umpire, and he's here at Football Park playing for the Hawks. For the Adelaide side, get the ball all the way out to right half back. Hewitt and Angelo Lekis there. Hardy still to take his place. Eccles.
It's the Adelaide bench that's as it started.
Marsh and Byrne. Gathered by Crode. Can he control the football? He can. And the mark is taken by Bassett.
Always plays in front. Always plays in front.
Not using the ball so far in this term very well at all, Hawthorn. Bassett's kick is good. Gee, he watched it beautifully onto his boot, didn't he? Made sure that there was not a great deal of margin for Johnson. The Crows player with the football goes out towards the wing. Diving effort. That's his fifth mark. His eighth kick coming up.
He's hurting them badly at the moment.
Burton, that is. Kicks the ball towards half forward. Drops short. Stevens and Rashudo. Back to the favoured left side of Simon Goodwin. That's chopped off by McCabe. Back to Vandenberg. Oh, the kick smothered. Well done by Welsh. Kicked away by Hay. Not quite effectively enough. A little handball. In trouble, Vandenberg. Got the hand pass away. Lord now for the Hawks. Gets the handball to Obst. Obst straight down the ground. Now the Hawks are big chance. Is that a mark? No. Knocked away for Thompson. Couldn't quite clear the pack. Nigel Smart is there. Thompson for Hawthorn. In under there also is Barlow. Hewitt gets it and just hacks it out of there. And fortunately for Adelaide, Burton has taken his sixth mark. And the rain is absolutely teeming down here at Football Park. Simon Goodwin takes the mark for Adelaide.
This makes that against the Breeze decision even more worse. if I can say that.
You're not going to let go on that one, Curls.
I'm not letting go one bit. Yeah,
I'm with you, Curls.
It was Gracie Fields that said, never give her something.
That's exactly right. Harford let the ball get past him, and Bickley, advantaged by that, quite prepared to go short, and Perry will have a set shot. It'll be difficult because he's got to kick the ball in excess of 40 metres.
And how big a goal would this be against the Breeze in the context of the game? Hawthorn yet to impact on the scoring board. You're seeing a quality side at the moment. The Crows playing with a great deal of confidence. The Hawks not sure whether to go long, whether to continue that chipping short style of the game. The Crows working the ball against the Breeze on the outer side of the ground, but also prepared to bring it grandstand side to create opportunities as well.
Will he make the distance? Look, it just stops in the air. The Breeze drags it down.
You've got to be wary there if you're a defender too, that the ball just doesn't fall into the arms of a forward. And Hawks defending desperately. Hay kicks it wide, but chopped off by Goodwin. Goodwin hooks the kick back towards the goal front. Harford was pushed. No free kick. Back goes Obst. In there is Biglands, gathered by Rawlings. He shares it with his co-defender in Jonathan Hay. Crows have got the numbers here. Shirley gets back onto his right and then delivers into the pocket out in front of Perry. Difficult for a big man, but he does pretty well. Hacked it towards the centre half forward area. Kicked away there by Angelo Lekis. And we will see a boundary throw in on centre wing right down here in front of us, in front of the Crows interchange area.
Well, you won't see that too often, the ball this side, the grandstand side, but Ian Perry did the desperate thing there. He belted the ball back into play, but unfortunately there was only Hawthorn players there.
Well, we've played nearly 40 minutes of football and Hawthorn have not troubled the scorer.
I'll tell you what, boys, that the conditions down here at the moment, even a duck would have trouble here.
Yeah, well, a few around the place, Curls, a duck would have its life in its hand.
Stevens and Perry have been important acquisitions to the Crows forward line because they're also prepared to work hard and keep the ball in the forward area. Coaches love to see players who work hard, are desperate. We saw Biglands before diving on the ground. Stevens and Perry desperate inside 50 as well.
Terrific knock by Wren there. Sorry, Tony, but he knocked it into the path of Barlow. The kick goes towards half forward. Ben Hart under a bit of pressure, dispossessed. Still the Hawks have got it alive. Lord is tackled by Ben Hart. Now Nigel Smart, still to be controlled. Bickley and Rashudo. Rashudo goes for the safety of the line. And not a bad kick in the circumstances. It will be thrown in Harford to go to the interchange bench, and he will be replaced by Stephen Green.
Robert, we just saw at the bottom of the screen then when Bickley kicked the ball towards, Rashudo kicked the ball towards the boundary line. 5 spare Crows players behind the line of the ball. They just have more numbers at the contest. That's the thing that's creating the opportunities. Every time the ball is in dispute, there are Crows players there.
Yeah, well, obviously, Peter Schwab's concerned about Mark Bickley because Daniel Harford was on Mark Bickley. Now, Raiden Tellis has gone to pick Mark Bickley up. And Stephen Green has gone forward by the looks of it.
Wren gets front posse. Obst was a chance, and Joel Smith, we watched that football bounce just inside the boundary line and over.
The structure of the Crows forward line as well, if we can get a shot on camera in a perfect symmetrical line, 5 Crows forward players with their Hawthorn defensive players on them.
Still searching for their first score. Gee, you have to think that they've got to kick 3 goals at least in this term to be any sort of a chance. Gee, it's gone straight through the 4 players, and gathering the ball and kicking a score is Barker. He's missed.
He put himself under too much pressure there. The tackling in this game has been really fierce. He was expecting all sorts of pressure from Adelaide. He had time to steady. He hurried the kick and unfortunately wasted it. In these conditions, you cannot waste the kick in front of goals.
Graham, it's also a sure sign of a lack of confidence as well when you've got the ball in front of goals and you've got that extra second to steady and take the shot and you don't take it. Hawthorn just seem to be a side struggling with confidence at the moment, and consequently the game is not free-flowing and opportunities aren't opening up for them.
Pressure's been good, though, from both sides. The Hawthorn's pressure particularly has been good.
Possession number 14 to Brett Burton, 5 marks. He's been a dominant player out there on centre wing. Kicked away by Rawlings, and it'll be thrown in right in front of the Sir James sign, and it's not a bad drop, the old Sir James. There's Mark Stevens on screen. He has kicked a goal for Adelaide. Darren Jarman has kicked 1. Brett Biglands has kicked 1. Andrew McLeod has kicked a couple. They lead 5-3 to a 1 behind. Adelaide. Luke McCabe dispossessed by Hewitt. Gathering the awkward ball there was Edwards. Away to Burton. He's tackled by McCabe. And in that little passage of play, the ball has gone over for another boundary throw. In Adelaide, really wouldn't worry too much about that. Time ticking away. We're now nearly up to the 11-minute mark of the second term.
This is where they want the ball this quarter, and if it's ugly and it's messy, well, they won't mind as long as Hawthorn aren't scoring.
Well, I think we came today to the ground expecting the game to be of this nature, didn't we? I mean, you mentioned, or Bruce may have said in the lead-up, that yesterday was a shocking day here in Adelaide.
You come to look at different aspects of the game, and it's not a day where you're going to see the free-running, high-marking play, but you'll see the other aspects of the game, the other great aspects like the tackling and the desperation and the pressure around the ball. And we've seen that from players like Mark Bickley in this instance, and Brett Burton working really hard with his aerobic fitness to cover the ground as he is. He's the one player who's dominating. by and large, Hawthorn's negative tactics have worked.
Well, Bigland's contesting the boundary throw-in and eventually got the ball to Edwards. He was slung off the footy. McCabe had it, lost it, got it again, and then Welsh has been penalised for what he's asking.
He came over the top of Luke McCabe. If you watch this, just takes him head high.
Bit crude.
There's definitely a free kick.
So the Hawks get the ball all the way to the half-forward area. Anthony Rock, you reckon he would excel and with the ball pretty much at ground level. Loney's kick, chance for Crode, he can't get into it. Shirley's left foot kick is okay. Forces another boundary throw in.
Well, they're going to need to take some risks now, the Hawks. Whilst their defensive tactics have been good, they need to impact on the scoreboard. They're starting to create opportunities going forward. They are going inside 50, but they're just going there without a lot of system. You need to make things happen on the scoreboard as well. You can't control the footy and not kick goals.
Barker trying to get it out, kicked away by Barlow, right to the front of the Hawthorn goal. They need a little bit of good fortune. It may come here. Barker straightens up. Left foot flying shot at goal by Barker. And the Hawks have got their first on the scoreboard 12 minutes in.
On Today Tonight, the unknown disease threatening a little Adelaide girl,
It hurts a lot when it bleeds.
baffling dozens of doctors.
It is spreading now.
Now the race is on to save her.
What do? We just feel so alone.
Plus, how to beat parking fines.
You can challenge these laws.
The secret they don't want you to know.
Oh, I think it's in the tens of millions.
And burn the bulge.
I feel so much better about myself.
Bodies that never get fat. This week on 7.
Well, it's been a very good contest so far, Nigel Smart and John Barker, but John Barker just shrugging the shackles off. It's a pretty important goal. They just need to follow it up now.
Hartford just replaced Rock.
Joel Smith looks as though he may have been moved into the midfield. Gee, that was a terrific gather by Barker. Missed his target with the hand pass. Burton, possession number 16 to Rashudo. Possession number 12 for Mark Rashudo. Goes low, close to the boundary line, and Simon Goodwin appealing for out of bounds on the full. Not forthcoming.
It was a defensive attacking kick from Mark Rashudo, if that makes sense. Going into the forward lines and going so defensively with it.
So a boundary throw-in will take place. You can see the forward 50-metre line just off to the right of screen there for Adelaide. And knocked back towards the wing. So here again is a little bit of good fortune, but Ben Hart was terrific. He went back in after it and eventually knocked it clear. The Hawk boys were appealing for the free kick, and while all that was happening, Ben Hart just kept at the footy. So did Mark Bickley, and eventually coming to McCabe. Handball back over the top of his head. Wren having a dust-up behind play, and the umpire's right onto the scene.
Give the free kick.
And Wren has given the free kick away.
There's no question with that Hawthorn goal that the game has gone up another cog as well in tempo.
Just watch here, you'll see Rhett Biglands is harshly dealt with by Sean Wren. Pretty much fair there, but I think in the
another go,
struggle, yeah.
And Biglands gets past him. He loved this, Rhett Biglands. The kick to the goal front. Johnson gets his kick away. And is that an important kick or what?
Want to make your dad's day? Then get into Bunnings Warehouse. We have thousands of great gift ideas, all at the lowest prices every day. Like screwdriver set, only $9.99. Steamer chair, a low $24.95. 6-litre Walpamure paint, $39.90. 400-watt impact drill, $29.98. Potting mix with dynamic lifter, $4.99. We won't be beaten on price. And that's guaranteed.
Bunnings Warehouse.
Lowest prices are just the beginning.
Simon Goodwin pretty good too with 14 possessions. Rashudo caught by Loney. Hand pass astray. Swept on there by Lekas. Now Barker and Smart. Nigel Smart prepared to just kick it in front of himself over for a boundary throw-in.
Well, Robbo, as a game, it was a pretty dour battle up until the last 5 minutes. But with that Hawthorn goal, that contest between Biglands and Wren, it's now started to really fire up, and we're now seeing players starting to run free, and it should really open up from here for the rest of this quarter.
Well, we're seeing the young rookie, Osborne, warming up on the bench. This will be a big moment for this kid from Queensland.
Yeah, Wren about to come off.
Oh, chance here for Lekas, gets a kick away. Hewitt, little fumble. Johnson, yes, well played, Kane Johnson.
He's a class player, isn't he?
Yeah,
Kane Johnson.
he played that beautifully, didn't he? Just tapped the ball down in front of him. He knew that he was under pressure.
Unhurried here. He's under all sorts of pressure.
That's class.
He knows exactly what he's doing. And Trent Croad saying, but he put it out deliberately. He probably did.
A player that the Hawks are looking for a bit more of a contribution from is Trent Croad. Loney, Leckus can't get his boot to it. Loney, dispossessed. Still a real struggle. Joel Smith, he's found some space to squeeze a kick towards goal. He has scored just to behind.
Well, Hawthorn creating opportunities, driving the ball forward. They're certainly kicking longer when they go inside 50. They must persist with that game plan as well. Move the ball quickly in the midfield and get it forward.
Sean Wren coming off there to a respectful Adelaide members crowd. They didn't boo him at all, which is quite sporting.
Gee, that was a terrific pickup back there. Was that Steng line? Oh, gee, close to the ground. It was very, very athletic. Bassett now bombing away. Kicks it high in the air. Good mark taken by Rawlings. Can he switch play? Is there anyone that he can kick the ball to in the midfield? Very well gathered by Leckus. Tried to get the hand pass back. Croad, short kick, too far for Green. Now the race is on. Goodwin, maybe the advantage of a few more games under his belt here, Simon Goodwin. Very much the professional there with Green, but Green did well, persisted, didn't he?
Yeah.
Lord, back to McCabe. Another bit of good fortune here for the Hawks. They need it. And he got rid of his opponent there, Barker, illegally, according to the umpire, who was just off to the right of the marking contest and saw an infringement.
Yeah, well, he's saying he was held, but it's not obvious there. John Barker making his displeasure known to the umpire, but he didn't seem to be much in the contest.
Umpire calling Kane Johnson to play on. He does that. Finds Hewitt. Hewitt doing pretty well, coming up for his 9th kick. Taken 3 marks. Goes across the line. And to the defensive side of the ground, Bickley gathers. Chopped off. Croad. Back to Green. Back to Croad. Little bit of confusion there. The kick in is a long one by Croad. It'll be marked by Hewitt.
Wasn't so much confusion, Robbo. When Greeny looked up and looked forward, there was nothing on offer for him, so he had to stop and come back and try and get it to Croad.
Short kick. Barker. Steng line. Brilliantly gathered by Edwards. Hand pass Steng line. In turn Smart. Gee, they've manufactured that quite well. Smart's kick will go close and will bounce over.
Well, there were 2 turnovers there, weren't they? One from Bickley and one from Hewitt that created opportunities for the Hawks to try and capitalise on. Uncharacteristic mistakes too by the Crows, because their backline has been excellent today, controlling the ball extremely well, knowing when to work it quickly. The mistake Mark Bickley made was trying to give it off when there wasn't a play to go to.
Well, Osborne is on the ground and very much in that area of play. McLeod off the ground. The ball comes through to Stevens. He looked for Johnson with his hand pass. Desperate stuff by the Hawks, and it'll finish with Obst. Obst straightens and then kicks down towards half forward, nearly up to full forward. The crumbs have been gathered by Barlow, and Barlow has missed.
They've had their opportunities. They've got to be able to nail those chances, though.
The goal against the Breeze and the couple of chances that they've had, if it's back to 5, say to 5-3 or 5-4 at half-time, it becomes a surmountable task, doesn't it?
Well, the goal against the Breeze is worth 2, maybe even 3 goals in these sorts of conditions.
Ben Hart, good long kick, well outside the defensive 50-metre zone. Burton just allowed Stevens, good front-on tackle by Barlow. Can he be penalised? Because he did have a slight chance to move the ball on, and the umpire has gone in favour of the Hawthorn player, Chris Barlow.
Well, he took him on, didn't he? He took him on. He could have given it off, but wanted to go around him, for he was there.
Chance here at half forward for the Hawks. Shirley gets the hand pass. Bickley quickly onto his boot. He does that well. Johnson's handball. Stevens dispossessed. Jarman left lamenting. Osborne. Now Hay. In turn Thompson. Thompson straightens up. Goes down towards the goal front. Where are the Crummers? Gee, they're outnumbered about 4-1 there, Hawthorn. And it's kicked away in the finish by Bassett. Good distance. And it will be thrown in on centre wing.
Johnson replaced Harford for Hawthorn.
Yeah, Nathan Bassett knew exactly what he was doing there. He's played in front, he's been dour, he's been desperate. He got that ball and looked up to the wing and said, I can probably reach that with a big torpedo.
This is Hawthorn's chance here because the conditions have dried out a little bit.
Well, they trail by 5 goals, Curls. Goodwin hacks the ball out of the contest from the boundary throw-in. Chance here for Stephen Green. Gets his kick away into the pocket. It'll bounce and it'll be brilliantly gathered by Crode. It'll be kicked for goal by Barlow. He's run down. Still the Hawks a chance. The goal might be kicked by Aaron Lloyd. It is. Hawks get their second.
Maybe we'll party again.
Grant, can you pick up the Hawthorn boy doing a good job on McLeod? I don't think he's touched the ball this quarter.
But McLeod spent most of the time on that football graveyard, the half-forward flanker. Gary Ayres has been content to leave him there.
Eccles on and Shirley off for the Crows.
Oh, wonderful tap by Goodwin. His intentions were perfect, but it didn't quite come off. Obst gets the hand pass. Thompson. Hawks may have just lifted a little bit in the last few minutes. The kick forward by Thompson is brilliantly gathered by Ben Hart. Not really advantaged there was Goodwin. Kick off the ground. Hawks still a chance. Can they get the hand pass away? Oh, desperate stuff by McLeod. And I'm sure the fans will really appreciate Andrew McLeod's efforts in that area of the ground.
It's a very important 5 minutes. You've got about 5 minutes left to play. Hawthorn with the breeze. Adelaide holding on.
Need another goal, the Hawks. Goodwin with the football, tackled by McCabe. Umpire will bounce.
Bigland's coming off now. They've sensed an opportunity to make the change. He's done the job very well on Sean Wren. Yet Bigland's coming off. Ben Marsh. Straight in and jostled by Nathan Thompson.
So the umpire quite prepared to just throw it in the air. Comes back to Hart. Hart kicks the ball forward. Stevens couldn't quite take the mark. Brilliant gather by Goodwin. Goodwin kicks the ball to the danger zone as far as the Hawks are concerned. Back there is Hay. Just kicked it off the ground. Got to get down at ground level. Obst. Dispossessed Johnson. Hand pass further forward. Jarman will run in and get a goal, won't he? No, he won't. It'll slip off the side of his boot and go out on the full in the opposite.
Well, he had 2-on-1 situation there, and it wasn't the right option. But you'd never. Just Johnson does so well, but he's got another Crows player there.
There's one big change I've noticed in this side over the recent 3 or 4 weeks, probably since the Sydney game, is when they get possession of the ball in the midfield and they're going forward, they have numbers pushing forward as well. It's a real confidence thing. We saw before where Goodwin got the ball, 3 or 4 players on his side, pushing forward, creating forward thrusts.
Rashudo got a kick away inside the forward 50 for Adelaide. Opportunity for Tallis. He's confronted by Bickley and Mark Stevens and dumped unceremoniously to the turf.
Oh, it's tough work, but it's great football in a sense. Both teams attacking really well.
There's been a lot of talk about Gary Ayres unleashing the rain and letting them go. I think we're really seeing that in today's game.
Well, there's an opportunity there for Adelaide in the right forward pocket, but McCabe to Nathan Thompson. McCabe is doing a pretty good job for the Hawks. Thompson's kick bounces back near the centre. Can they swoop on it? Stephen Green tried to carry the ball with his momentum. In there is young Osborne, and the umpire will call for a bounce.
Ben Marsh struggling a bit behind play.
This is quite unusual. Looks like Hawthorn are flooding Adelaide's back line, and Hawthorn's forward line is well and truly open.
Quickly onto it there is Thompson. He's dispossessed. The ball spills for Eccles. Can't quite control the footy. Gee, it's awkward, isn't it? It's very, very awkward. McLeod, well, when you see a man like McLeod fumble, it must be difficult. Stevens, the kick towards half forward. It's punched away. Ready to swoop on it is Bickley. He can't control the kick, and it's out of bounds. A free kick for the Hawks in the right back pocket.
It is a well-known tactic of Hawthorn's that they like to push a winger or a half-forward flanker, in this case both, into their defensive area, get numbers behind the line of the ball, set up their play with their chip passing, and then start to push forward to a tall forward line. They're certainly setting up that way. They're just not able to make the opportunities happen when they get inside 50.
It's just so hard to execute the skills on a day like today. That's the big problem.
So the Hawks with 2.5 minutes left in the term. Johnson is on the ground for Hawthorn, and the boundary umpire, about 75 metres around from the Adelaide goal, will throw it in. The scoreboard, Adelaide 6-3, Hawthorn 2-3, and we're close to the long break here at Football Park. Joel Smith, just a little toe poke, but only as far as Burton. He shares it with Hart. Hand pass to Bassett, who is doing very well. Kicks it pretty well straight up in the air. Will this be paid a mark? He nearly marked his own ball, Bassett. Now, being shepherded off the ball, the umpire spotted that, and the free kick went to Vandenberg. He goes out wide. Now, a contest between Edwards and Johnson. Johnson gets the front posse. Got the hand pass away. May get it back. No, Edwards plays quite safely in the finish, knocking it clear for throwing.
It wasn't the time for an awkward handball, Brett Johnson. He needed a quick kick. He tried to be a bit more creative than he could have been.
Bit of time left for the Hawks to get their third goal. Green, Eccles.
Well, they need a goal, Robbo, don't they? I mean, a 3-goal return for the quarter, 6-3 at half-time, keeps them within range.
Wren replaced Thompson.
Thanks, girls, for that one. Sean Wren
goes straight to a kick behind the play.
The last minute and a half of the quarter. Joel Smith gets his left foot to it. This is the good fortune they need. They still need some clean possession. Crow, then Bassett. Bassett out wide. Ben Hart got to gather. Oh, it was a funny old hand pass. Nigel Smart gathers and then kicks it clear. And the Crows would be happy with that because it was threatening for Hawthorn, and all of a sudden the ball will be thrown in on centre wing.
There's one player standing tall in Adelaide's defence and repelling everything that comes in there, and that's Nathan Bassett. He is having a great defensive game.
Centre wing, just forward of centre wing with only a minute left in the second term. Hawks have really struggled, just kicked a couple of goals so far in the game. Bickley's handball, Marsh, Rashudo nearly run down by Lekas. Get the ball to Eccles, Eccles the kick, kicked away by Jonathan Hay. That's not such a bad result, but it won't go out of bounds. Close to the line, it's gathered by Burton. 17th possession to Brett Burton. The kick in towards half-forward. Stevens and Rawlings, McLeod, can he kick another one? Andrew McLeod can't quite get enough hook on the football and scores his second behind. 2 goals to his return.
He knew what he wanted to do. He kept his eye on the ball. When it spilled free, he was into the pack, stood up, stepped. He knew he had to get the ball around with his left boot, but couldn't bring it around quite enough.
Zone defence by the Crows as well. Gary Ayres, of course, is persisting with that man-on-man tactic for most of the year. Zoned up well in the second half against North last week, doing it extremely well here.
Well, the Hawks prepared to go straight down the ground. No mark taken there by Wren. Gathered by Burton. Hand pass back. Missing the football there was Perry. Spills out to Johnson. The Crows are a chance to score. Ben Hart's kick in towards the full forward area. Attacking the football obs. Just maybe lack of plenty of match play. Working against Chris Obbs there. Angelo Lekas kicks it down towards the half-forward area. Gathered by Bassett. And it's probably appropriate, isn't it, that Nathan Bassett has the last effective possession of the term. That's his 4th handball. He's had 11 possessions. And at half-time, the game is in the control of the Crows. Adelaide 6-4-40. Lead Hawthorn.
Just a sure sign of extra numbers around the football and probably working a little harder.
Let's go down to Neil Curley at half-time. Kills, what's the scenario here? It's a 4-goal lead with the breeze at their back. What's impossible for Hawthorn from Adelaide's point of view?
Well, I thought Hawthorn's job was always going to be difficult at the start of the game. So you'd have to say right now it's going to be even more so. And we look up at the sky, there's blue sky up there, so it would be real bad luck for Hawthorn if the Crows had this breeze with a nice dry ball, because they had it for most of the second quarter with a wet ball, which made it very, very difficult to score goals. So they've really got the job in front of them, and it's going to take a hell of an effort for them to win this footy match.
Well, the stakes are high as we start the second half here with the Crows leading by 25 points.
Yes, you would think that Hawthorn, anything greater than a 4 or 5 goal deficit at three-quarter time would be very difficult to bridge the gap. So the onus is on the Hawk in the third term. They start promisingly. Lekas gets the ball towards right half forward. Bassett leads in the race. and is quite prepared to just knock it in front of himself with the bottom part of his leg, and it will be thrown in right on centre wing.
Yes, and Gary Ayres starting with Ben Marsh in the ruck, and he's gone straight away to shadow Sean Wren, not allowing Sean Wren to have that easy kick behind play.
Big possessions individually for the Crows. Goodwin 19, Rashudo 16, Bickley 13, Burton 17, Hewitt 10 kicks. McCabe, little kick, rock. Gee, that was illegal, but it's been declared all fair and above board. Burton was pretty good in that passage of play. In underneath Vandenberg. Tallis, ball spills now to Obst. Can he get the hand pass away? He can. And giving ground was Leckus to McCabe. Gee, that hand pass was a little ordinary by McCabe. Put his teammate under a lot of pressure. Little kick by Eccles is good. And McLeod, from this margin, he decides not to have a flying shot. He goes out wide to Marsh, and Marsh will get the first score. And from a Hawthorn viewpoint, you can breathe a sigh of relief in your lounge rooms in Melbourne because he's missed.
Things aren't looking good for Hartford. May not take any further part in the game. I'll get an update in a little while.
Too much looseness there for Hawthorn. Richie Vandenberg's tagging Andrew McLeod, but McLeod was able to slip away from him, and then Marsh slipped away from Sean Wren.
Joel Smith's kick in. Dropped there by Stevens. Now a chance for Marsh. He's tackled by Wren. How did he get rid of the ball? In the finish, the little toe poke, which wasn't bad. Back to Stevens. Stevens' kick to the goal square, and the mark is taken by Jarman. Not paid. Still alive for Adelaide. Kicked away in the finish there by Tallis. Now very wide by Rawlings. The hand pass. Over the top went Leckus into the danger zone. Rawlings still there. Gee, they're making this very, very difficult, and it's going to break down in the form of a goal to Adelaide in the finish. And it has been kicked, has it, by Burton? No, it's Goodwin, is it, that's kicked it?
My life was perfect. Great boyfriend, endless parties. Then Dad says,
"We're moving to the country."
I can't believe he's doing this to me. There's nothing there. Shut up!
Well, I can think of one thing. She wants me bad.
Hello? Does anyone care about my feelings?
So it's settled. We're moving.
Don't count on it.
Seven's new drama, always greener, soon.
21 possessions to Simon Goodwin. Kicks his first goal. Adelaide get their 7th. They lead 47-15. And it is the same margin now as it was at quarter time. Nigel Smart out wide to the advantage of Edwards. He gives away a little bit of ground back to Bickley. Gets back onto his favoured right and kicks quite well to the forward 50-metre line. The Hawks defence, disciplined punch from behind. Oh, gee, it was telegraphed, wasn't it? Barlow's hand pass, chopped off by Goodwin to the front of the goals. Adelaide a real chance here. Marsh dispossessed back there by McCabe. A little emphatic, the hand pass to Graham. He kicks across the face of goal. Sweating on it is Eccles. And Eccles goes bang and kicks a goal.
Yeah, this is very, very ominous for Hawthorn. Very promising for Adelaide. Simon Goodwin has been involved in a couple of really good movements. The ball came forward. Darren Jarman made a contest. Now Graham trying to centre it. Sorry, trying to clear it to the wrong other side of the ground, the defensive side, but Eccles run off the wing, the right place at the right time. It's a fairly easy kick, really, to have it come to you and then have the goal staring you in the face.
Biggest margin now.
Just the wrong option by Graham. I mean, he had to turn boundary side, just run the ball over the boundary. Just a dangerous kick in that situation.
Good bounce, taken away by Wren, kicks it forward. You'd think the Hawks have got to get at least those 2 goals back. Bassett defending grandly, kicks with his right and gets reasonable distance and finds the safety of the line out there in front of Andrew Eccles. And Vardy yet to have a run, Byrne yet to have a run, Biglan's warming the bench. And it might be Shirley, is it? Robert Shirley there as well.
Gee, and Adelaide are kicking with the breeze. The sun has come out, the ball is dry. It's going to suit them perfectly.
Rock, left foot kick towards half forward. Lord, just a little manhandling there by Stengline. Edwards composed. Bassett again. High, back towards the wing, running with the flight of the ball, taking a good mark as McCabe gets rid of Johnson, and what's wrong with, why would the umpire, why would he ask him to come back? He's marked the ball, he's bumped the player, then he's decided to play on.
Well, unless the umpire called time on, that's the only reason he can bring him back after a mark.
Matthew Dent accepts the kick, goes very short. Chance there for Barker, gives away a little bit of ground, gets the handball back to Crode. Crode from 65 metres, kicks the ball to the danger zone. Good mark. Thompson right in front, 15 metres out.
Nathan Bassett in front, as he always is, but just out-muscled there by Nathan Thompson, who hasn't had a huge impact on the game yet. He's a wonderful player. The ball held up, carried a bit further than perhaps Nathan Bassett had anticipated. He did the right thing, he was in front, but much better judgment from Nathan Thompson. A pretty important kick here.
Big crunch for Adelaide to keep psychologically on the job. They lead by 6 goals, in excess of 6 goals. That goal by Thompson brings it back to 5.
He couldn't believe he got straight through to me. He thought he'd get a computer.
If you'd rather speak to a real person, call Amy on 13 22 44.
So the Crows lead by 32 points. They led by 25 points at quarter time, at half time rather. They had a very handy lead of 32 points at quarter time. Ruck contest. Wren was probably more aware of his opponent than the football there, and it will be rebounced.
Yeah, Hawthorn leaving. Aaron Lord, one out with Tyson Stenglein in their 50. Trent Crode wandering back into the 50 area now, but just those two, Crode and Lord inside Hawthorn's 50.
Leckus replaced by Osmond just a while back.
Barker and Smart, the other two players inside 50 there. Yeah. So Lord and Barker are probably the two players who are most capable of kicking goals for them. They're pushing forwards like Crode up around the contest just to get extra stronger players around the ball.
So the bounce very much at the centre circle, kicked away by Rashudo. That puts the onus right on that Hawthorn defence. Obst and Welsh. In goes Stevens to help out his Crow teammate and former Kangaroo teammate Scott Welsh and Mark Stevens.
Gee, there's a lot happening behind the play with Luke McCabe and Simon Goodwin. Simon Goodwin had such a fantastic game. He's had 22 possessions already, and Luke McCabe's obviously been told to close him down, stay in his hip pocket, annoy him if you can.
Bickley's kick is, well, that's a free kick to Goodwin there. You spoke of the two then, Graham.
Well, he's won that round by playing in front.
Yeah, Graham, he's one of the hardest players to stop in the competition, Goodwin, because he is a link running player, but also when he's not winning the ball in a linking situation, he's in and under play as well. We saw a perfect example there of where the ball is in dispute. Goodwin getting in front of his opponent, maintaining front position and getting the reward with a free kick.
It's pretty hard to shift off his feet too, by that way. It's pretty hard to bring to ground. He stays strong over the ball, a bit like Andrew McLeod in that regard.
Well, very big chance here to post the Crows' 9th goal. Simon Goodwin, long shot, just drifts off to the left. Scores a behind. That's the Crows' second behind since half-time. They've kicked 2 goals too, and Hawthorn have kicked just 1 goal.
It was an interesting kick, that one, Tony. He kicked it with his left foot, and you being a left footer, he kicked it to the left-hand goalpost with the breeze over his shoulder. It should have come back.
Fade back, yep.
But it didn't.
No, it should have.
What happened?
I'm not sure. I haven't done that for a long time. I can't remember.
The new grandstand, boys, cutting the breeze off.
Okay.
Good call, Curls.
Well, Hawthorn, through Sean Wren, have possession of the ball. Decides to go short. Green for the Hawks.
Crows flood back here, Robbo, just making it difficult for Hawthorn to find someone to go to, forcing them to kick long.
Well, he's gone very wide, hasn't he, Stephen Green, and out there it's been gathered by Goodwin. He gets a left foot hack to it, in towards the middle. Green again. He's got someone to kick to on this occasion. It's Mark Graham. Graham goes short. Bassett is there. Well done. He got his left foot to it. Gee, 2 hands would have been better than 1 there for Aaron Lord. He's able to get a second go at it. He gathers, then kicks to the goal front. Hawks should get a goal here. Gee, they're going to mess it up, though. Just a couple of youngsters back there, Crowd, and it might have been Osborne. Lord gets it again. Little hand pass. In comes Vandenberg. Vandenberg's kick goes floating in towards goal, and the mark is taken by Barlow. Quick kick by Barlow improves the angle. Rocker's mark. He's a little further from goal, but has definitely improved the angle.
They needed that. They so outnumbered the Crows that they just had to score there. And it was a tremendous handball from Aaron Lord, which released the kick.
They nearly missed their opportunity, didn't they?
They nearly did. The Crows were frantic because they were hopelessly outnumbered.
Got to get this. Must kick this goal if there to be a chance. Anthony Rock drops it on his boot, and he has missed.
Tough shot from there, boys. That wind's picked up even stronger. He's kicking right in the teeth of it.
In the context of the game, though, it was there to kick. If he does get it, he comes within 4 goals. Really opens the game up for the Hawks.
And better tactics this quarter. He's flooding the midfield, and then they're pouring forward with the running ball.
Hawthorn going on his own.
Hawthorn going one-on-one on the kickoff.
The kick in towards the middle. Good mark taken by Wren.
Great hands.
He'd be pretty happy, I think, Sean Wren. With I know he had his hands full with Biglands early, but he's stuck to his task. He's now had 8 possessions and taken 7 marks. Kick towards the goal front. Nigel Smart tackled, dispossessed. Well done, Barlow. Can he kick a goal? Barlow goal! Well done, Hawkers!
Having a new car warranty means what goes gets fixed. But you have to go back to the dealer for servicing, or your warranty goes. Right? Wrong. UltraTune can service your new car from day one, and your warranty keeps running as smoothly as your car. UltraTune. In tune with you and your new car and your warranty at 15 RAA-endorsed locations.
Well, Tony, they did get the first 2 goals of the third term, Adelaide, but the Hawks have hit back.
They have, and it's just a work rate thing, Robbo. I mean, they've really lifted all around the ground, and they're creating forward opportunities inside 50, working particularly hard, the Hawks.
You mentioned about Crowd going forward and just trying to provide a little bit of physical strength, and that could be important too in the final analysis. Rock kicks it off the ground, and gee whiz, Crowd was just a little bit too intent there. He's dragged to the ground, not paid the free kick. Goldspink is the umpire. Hart and Crowd, still Crowd, be careful because sometimes you can be penalised for that misdemeanour.
Well, that's that work rate thing we're talking about, and also getting numbers to the contest in the forward 50. They're playing with a lot more confidence now, the Hawks, and they're creating turnovers and opportunities forward of centre.
Sean Wren's just getting on top of Ben Marsh here. Brett Biglands probably has to come back on.
Oh, big punch. Back towards the middle of the ground. Bickley gathers, handball. Burton, who was quite dominant in the first half. That's his first possession of the second half. Kane Johnson's kick into the pocket. Knocked away from Perry. Now a contest on the full forward line there for the Crows. Gee whiz, Vandenberg a little overzealous over the top of Goodwin. Is he lucky? No free kick. It is a free kick and a 50-metre penalty, is it?
Ooh, can't be, can it?
You're kidding.
Oh, it's such a harsh penalty, this 50-metre penalty.
Well, they must have blued with the decision in the first place.
That's all it is. You just cannot question the umpire, and they're looking at Sean Wren and they're saying it's for yapping, and Sean Wren's still giving it to the umpire.
Well, it makes a living certainty of it, doesn't it? Andrew Coates, the officiating umpire. Goodwin kicks the goal.
Oh, it shouldn't.
You should have been there.
If you want to quit smoking, help is available. Call Quitline 131 848.
The car's like new. Andy didn't lose his rating 1.
At Amy, if you've held a rating 1 for the last 3 years, you keep it for life. So call Amy.
That's just an umpire being pedantic to the point of being ridiculous.
I agree wholeheartedly. But anyway, the decision's been made. It has resulted in Adelaide kicking their 9th goal. They lead 60-28, and we've got 11 minutes left in the third term. Wren now to try and make amends. He's beaten for it by Marsh. The spillage finishes with Welsh. Welsh into the pocket. Gee, it was a pretty good kick. Not able to take the mark was Perry. In there again
it's a throw.
For Adelaide, it was Darren Jarman.
Just what they didn't need, Hawthorn. Just didn't need that, Hawthorn, because they had the momentum going.
You're right, Curls.
Well, it was the free kick to Simon Goodwin, which was a bit dubious, and Sean Wren questioned it. The umpire said, no, 50-metre against you.
Oh, Mark Rasciuto wasn't expecting that. In underneath is Joel Smith. Still a chance to clear. No, umpire will call for a bounce.
They're certainly running a lot harder, the Hawks, than they did in the first half. You can see when the ball's in dispute and they get possession of it, there are 2 or 3 options behind the line of the play with the ball to give it off to. They just weren't doing that. So they are giving themselves opportunities to push forward and maintain possession.
Adelaide just a bit classier at the moment, though, Tony, a bit cleaner.
And see what happens when you're blue with the umpire. You don't get too many, 50-50 decisions. This one's against Wren.
Yeah, he's had a bad day in that regard.
Kick forward there by Marsh. Lands the ball to within scoring range for the Adelaide side. Taken away by Jonathan Hay. Goes out very wide. Out in front of Lord. The ball bounces close to the line. He tries to play. Boy, gee, that must have only had centimetres in it too. But the boundary umpire decides it will be a throw-in.
He did it well, but he ran out of room. But Tyson Stengleins played a really good game on Aaron Lord, who's so dangerous for the Hawks in terms of their goal-scoring potential.
Leckus getting prepared to come back onto the ground. McLeod's handball releases Eccles. Eccles in towards the pocket area. Rock goes back to help out. Little bit of confusion. Rock gets it back. Handball over the top. Thompson. Back he goes to Green. Green into the middle. Joel Smith is marked. Looks to play on. He's got a player on centre wing. And that player will gather. Matthew Dent. Good kick too. Across his body. Mark taken by young Osborne. He goes back to Dent. He can gather. He can run in. He can nearly kick a goal, or he can put it on the chest of. He has successfully done that onto Barker.
It was great play. They worked it out really well. Nigel Smart right on Barker's hammer, but couldn't stop the diving mark. This is almost as hard a kick as you're going to have on this ground on a day like today, with that breeze coming across.
She's a real tough angle, this one.
But mind you, he's been a great kick for goal this year.
Well, this will be quite miraculous, won't he, if he can conjure up something here, John Barker. And he kicks it across the face, and it might have gone out of bounds on the full. No touch.
He had to put some little bit of draw or slice on that, Robbo.
A draw or slice. We know all about that, Curls. Golfing terms, but back to the football at Football Park. 9-6-60 Adelaide, 4-4-28 the Hawks. Nigel Smart left it behind. Andrew McLeod kicked it away for the Crows. And it'll be thrown in, well, a little bit safer out there, isn't it, as far as Adelaide are concerned? It's about 85 to 90 metres from the Hawthorn goal.
One area where Hawthorn are doing particularly well is they're actually catching Adelaide out on the break. So when they get the ball between the half-back line and the centre line, they get possession and they're running forward hard, and they're catching out, from flooding back, they're catching out their Adelaide opponents. They're creating the loose player effectively and doing it well.
Rock has had a reasonably good third term. About 5 possessions. His kick forward has been well marked by Hewitt.
Got to make a contest inside 50. I mean, Hewitt's an immediate opponent, must make the contest.
That's Crowd, and Hewitt's been very good on him and looking pretty good there at centre-half back in the last couple of weeks.
Gee, Bassett did well, provided the target for Hewitt and then got the ball to Burton. Burton may have coughed it up. Edwards knocked out of his hands. Play on, says the umpire. What's the difference between that and what happened on the other side of the ground when the Hawks were not allowed to play on? Rasciuto trying to burst, got the handball. Jarman, will it sit? No, it won't. Hawks under pressure, but they're up to it. Tallis goes wide. McLeod is out there. The ball bounces quite nicely for Barlow. He shrugs the tackle, which was attempted by Bickley. Barlow's handball. Player in support is McCabe. McCabe through the middle of the ground. A wobbly old punt kick. Lands on the chest there of Byrne.
He just replaced Byrne.
Byrne goes wide. Hewitt marks at left half back for Adelaide.
Much stronger quarter by the Hawks, this one.
Well, they're in arrears by the same margin as they were at quarter time, 32 points. It's going to be very, very difficult. They need to kick a couple of goals against the trend of play here. Kick by McCabe will finish up okay. 35 to 40 metres closer to goal. He forces a boundary throw-in.
It's a pretty clever kick, actually. Belting along the ground, it would roll, and then eventually it would go to the right and wander out of bounds. There was nothing else to go to, though.
So after trailing by 25 points at half-time, Hawks trail by 32 with 7 minutes in the term left. Crow handball forward. And if the umpire has paid a free kick, it's got to go to Hawthorn. It might be Leckers.
It was holding off the ball.
He was held. He was held by Eccles.
Just looked as if, or sounded as if there was a little bit of confusion between the two umpires there. Mark Nash, Darren Goldsby ignored, but Mark Nash paid the free kick.
He was in the right position to see it. He was the umpire in the pocket.
Leckers to pop it up in front of the goals. And the marker's taken back there by Welsh a little too easy from a Hawthorn point of view.
Well, he didn't have a target to go to, and we saw Sean Wren off the screen coming from a kick behind the play, fading forward. He just didn't get there quick enough because he would have been the obvious target on his own.
Scott Welsh is working so hard. He's starting the forward line. He's pushed back into defence, took that mark and now pushed forward up to the wing. They're going to go the other side.
Goes to the goal square at which the Crows are defending. Bickley decides to go long. 6.5 minutes left. And that kick from Mark Bickley was okay in the finish.
Yeah, a good kick too. He had nothing to kick to, so just to push the ball out in space, a long 50 or 60 metre kick in front of Eccles, so there was no doubt it was going to run out to the boundary, or Eccles had front spot. Good selection of good choice selection of kick by Bickley.
Gee, it's a big crowd, isn't it? What everyone knew was going to be a dirty day, and in excess of 40,000. McLeod was caught, but still able to get his kick away, and a good mark taken by Johnson. Kane Johnson for Adelaide, looking to go long, and he pops it into a good spot too, right in front of goals. The Hawks defending. Jonathan Hayes' kick goes across that full back line, and
to say Jonathan Hayes probably on top of Darren Jarman there. Ian Perry's making the contest. He's putting himself at the fall of every ball. Hasn't been able to take the marks this week that he has in previous weeks. Just the one mark. And the Hawthorn taller defenders are pretty much controlling those key positions.
Gee, Osborne a bit stiff, nearly carried the football through the contest. McCabe's handball was meant for Obst. Good work by Welsh to try and keep it alive for his side. So players working industriously. Stevens rather dragged off the ball, and that kick has been marked by a Rashuto.
Touch play on. Touch play on, and
so
he's out of bounds.
The line, he's out of bounds.
Look, I heard the touch from up here. Yeah. Mark Rashuto should have heard it where he is.
19 possessions to Rashuto.
Yes. Touch play. He takes the mark, thinks he's got a mark. He's out of bounds. The umpire calls play on it with throw in.
Edwards tries to crash his way through, able to get the hand pass away. Good desperate stuff there by Luke McCabe, confronted by Evan Hewitt down there in that left half forward area of the ground. It will be thrown in.
So, Curls, the breeze is blowing away from you. You're 60 metres away and you heard the touched off the boot.
I heard it here, quite clearly.
Very good penetrating boundary throw in. Edwards kicks it forward. Gee, that was a tough opportunity there for Perry. He wasn't able to gather the ball and eventually forced over for another boundary throw in.
It was a tough opportunity, but the good thing about Perry was he hasn't had a big day. He does continue to take front position.
Yep.
And his coach would be pleased with that because that's going to give him opportunities. He'll be rewarded for it.
Marsh on the favoured side, but Wren takes it out of the air, kicks it, and the breeze continues with the football to blow it close to the line, eventually over. Hewitt, who's been pretty good, he's had 14 possessions, taken 6 marks.
It's interesting this, despite Hawthorn's efforts this quarter, they haven't hurt Adelaide on the scoreboard. Adelaide's still standing firm.
But it's not out of their reach.
Not out of their reach.
Not out of the Hawks' reach. They've got to squeeze a goal in the last few minutes. They've got 5 minutes left. The football is with Trent Crowe. He gets reasonably good distance. Now the good fortune has to be with the Hawks. Now that might be it. Smart slipping over. Barker's handball. Crowe kicks it short. And no mark taken. So opportunity for Leckers. This is the good fortune they need. If the Leckers kick goes through, back goes Vandenberg. He can't keep it alive. And all that is left there for Hawthorn out of that foray up forward was a miserable behind.
Angelo Leckers, he had time to lift the eyes, see Aaron Lord by himself, get the handball off. He's gone for the quick kick.
Wren having a rest, replaced by Johnson. Bassett accepting the kick in. Kicked away by Ben Hart. Coughed up. Barker, he's gone.
Tackle.
He's been given the chance. He threw it away. Right in front of the umpire. Gee, he was lucky there, Johnny Barker.
Mark Rashuto is desperately got to, he gets to the contest, Props doesn't hold him up.
What about when he gets rid of it?
Watch, the ball just goes off the end of the hand. It's a throw.
Edwards caught with the ball. Tackle maybe from Matthew Dead a little high, was it?
Yeah, maybe
it's the easiest way to get rid of the congestion.
And 50 metres, how stupid is that? The free kick's there, there's no doubt about that, but grow up. Take a little bit. Umpires are too precious.
I tell you what, some of these decisions are keeping the Crows in this game, you know.
I question the umpire. Isn't there a certain amount of men in these people out there? A kick forward, taken there by Stevens, over his left shoulder, and Mark Stevens has broken a little bit of a drought for Adelaide. Well,
the city that never sleeps is under siege.
The explosion appears to be the work of terrorists.
They can't control the crisis.
You do not want the army in an American city.
They can't predict the enemy.
They're not here to negotiate. They were waiting for the cameras.
Tonight,
I'm declaring a state of martial law in this city.
World War will be on their own streets. Bruce Willis, Denzel Washington, and Annette Bening.
He's got a bomb!
The network premiere thriller.
Code Red!
The Siege, tonight on 7.
Well, that's blown the game open, you'd think. When Hawthorn desperately needed a goal, free kick, 50-metre penalty, and Adelaide have capitalised on that. Mark Stevens doing so well.
Crow trying to force it forward. Barlow, little handball. Thompson, handball wider still. Johnson, little kick into the pocket is all right, and Lord is marked. One of his rare, just little bit of spaces allowed for him by Stingline. And even then, Stingline was right on his ginger.
Trent Crowe's a player who's really lifted his game in his third quarter, and when he gets the ball, he's got good pace and he can drive them forward.
Aaron Lord to kick the Hawks right in front of their goal. It bounds back in his direction. Can't control the football. Stingline pretty good. And it will be a ball up in the left forward pocket for the Hawks.
The fellas in the sky behind is something the Hawthorn boys don't want to see as clouds coming over.
No, their ability to kick goals is going to be lessened, isn't it, if the rain starts to fall. They've only kicked 4 goals, 5, so they're going to have to kick 6 goals against the trend, in excess of 6 goals, to win the game in the last quarter. Just 2 minutes left. That's Shirley warming up for Adelaide.
The Stingline is going to be replaced.
Yeah, Lord's just looking threatening, isn't he?
2 minutes left in the term. Gathered by Bickley. Mark taken by McLeod. Prepared to handball it off. Goodwin, possession number 26. Kicks it forward in the direction of Jarman and Hay. Well done by Jonathan Hay. His handling of that situation was pretty good. Handball off. Crow, in turn, Obst. It might have been Oz, but no, it wasn't Obst, was it? And eventually, it is Perry going into the pocket to find Jarman.
Oh, look.
One way, then the other, then short. Maybe a little too fancy. Opportunity now for Stevens, who kicked the last goal. Loney for Hawthorn, across the full back line. McLeod to swoop on it, overran it. Tallis there for the Hawks. Kicks the ball wide, but no one home for Hawthorn. It's 4-1 in favour of Adelaide. Good shepherding, terrific shepherding, and it resulted in the kick coming forward and Johnson marking. Right half forward for the Crows. 10-6 plays 4-5. The margin 37 points in favour of Adelaide. Johnson's kick goes forward and a good mark taken by Rawlings. A minute left in the term.
He's had a tremendous game.
Well, he and Hay both, Graham.
Well, they have been very, very good players for Hawthorn right throughout the year. Jonathan Hayes handball. Johnson. They've got to conjure up something here. Awful kick by Brett Johnson. When he had the chance maybe to carry the ball a little further, to maybe suck one of the defenders down onto him, and the kick was very, very inaccurate and over on the for a boundary throw-in.
And that's exactly what he needed to do too. If you haven't got a target forward or you're not able to find a loose player on the break and you've got space, you must carry the ball, bounce it and work it down the line and wait for something to open up.
So Bickley just leaving it behind, gathered by Joel Smith.
Yeah, great job on the shootout.
Left foot kick has been well marked there by Eccles, looking to play on, and they keep possession because the kick has found Johnson. He plays on quickly, and the only score that will be added here could possibly be a Crows score.
Simon Goodwin, this is his 27th possession.
Byrne to kick to the goal square. They don't need a Crows mark. It's knocked through for a rush behind to Adelaide.
A lot of people interstate don't readily recognise Simon Goodwin. He was recognised by the All-Australian selectors last year. Made some people sit up and take notice, but he is such an impressive player, and today, no exception. 20 kicks, 7 handballs, just the 2 marks, 4 tackles, 2 goals, 1 in these conditions. That's the critical factor.
Well, the kick in goes very wide, and it's knocked back for Adelaide, but tell us.
So one area where the Hawks have dominated the quarter is the marking contest. They've had 5 marks, contested marks inside 50 that they've taken. In the Crows forward half, they've taken 10 contested marks. So they're dominating in the air at both ends of the ground, repelling the forward moves by the Crows and also creating opportunities with their tools inside 50, which is a good sign for them going into the last quarter. Game's still wide open, Robbo.
Well, it's a big task, though, Tony. I think as the players get tired, they lead by 38 points. Admittedly, they're going into the breeze. But in a quarter that saw Adelaide kick 4 goals, Hawthorn kicked 2. Adelaide lead at 3-quarter time. 10-7, 67. Hawthorn 4-5, 29.
For generations, Mitre 10 has been the place to go for Father's Day gifts, like a deluxe resort lounge only $49.95, or an NRG hammer drill, sander, angle grinder or jigsaw just $39 each.
A struggling local club shafted by the footy show.
A few people and a lot of kids down, actually.
They sold hundreds of tickets, but guess who didn't show?
Very bitter towards the show.
The stunt that left a whole town crying. A 7 News exclusive.
That boxcar, a midnight train, destination Magdalene. Oh Lord, have mercy on you.
It's been a tough match, but at the business end, there's no stopping them. They're looking the goods. Oh, beautiful tap on. They're away. This is sensational to watch. A real premiership performance.
Golden draft, thanks.
Oh, look at that. Bob's now selling us on 18 months, no deposit, no interest.
18 months?
Well, that's almost a year and a half.
Oh, please sell him, Bob.
What sort of person are you in the morning? One that's easily irritated? Nivea for Men Aftershave Balm soothes and moisturises your skin after every shave. Nivea for Men Aftershave Balm, for men who dare to care.
We're trendy. We're traditional. We're leather. We're recliners. With stock ready to go now at the lowest price or it's free. Discount Lounge Centre, Ranella, Parafield and Keswick.
G'day, Paul LaRusso of Perth writes, when I have friends over to watch the footy, I spend so much time playing host that I can't enjoy a few UDLs myself. Well, Paul, I'm assuming you can't afford a professional caterer. So do as I do, put the locals to good use.
Tonight on the Know How Show, we're crossing live to Helga and Sandy at a home hardware store. Come in, Helga.
Thanks, Rusty. We're finding out what kids are getting their dads for Father's Day. What does your dad want?
A stainless steel Gerber multiplier or a GMC triple pack with handy carry case.
And you?
A hard point jack cancer.
Well, back to you, Rusty.
Don't you love live television? Father's Day Dog-a-log, out now. On Today Tonight, how to beat Adelaide's parking fines.
You can challenge these laws.
The secret they don't want you to know.
Oh, I think it's in the tens of millions.
6:30 on 7.
Seven's football telecast. Proudly brought to you by West End Draft. West End, your thirst. McDonald's, Mac your day. And Mitsubishi Motors, driving your world. The AFL, in association with its premier partner, Carlton and United, proudly presents the 2001 Premiership season.
Well, this contest feels a lot closer than the scoreboard. It's 10-7 to 4-5. The Hawks do have the breeze in the last quarter, but they're going to have to probably kick 8 goals to win. So the other games today, all at three-quarter time, and some replays are coming up. If you don't want to know, it's Sydney, St Kilda, Melbourne, Freo, and we start with the Cats and the Lions.
Right on the tip of my tongue. Right on the tip of my tongue. On the tip.
Well, Mark, tactics this quarter from Gary, what are they?
Yeah, just to gain yardage, to, you know, when we get hold of the ball, be smart with it. We don't want to give it back easily to Hawthorn. You know, we still believe we can score into it, and but we just got to play the percentages.
They put the brakes on Rashudo McLeod that quarter.
Yeah, they did a little bit, and probably told a little bit in the way we were able to run the ball, but still we maintained a pretty good lead.
The players look very locked together and pretty desperate at that last break.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. They know what hinges on this quarter, and they're not going to give it up easily.
You're looking for a big one. All the best.
Right,
back to you, boys.
Thanks, Neil Curley there with Mark Micken.
And interesting, Gary Ayres is not going defensive. He's not going to sit on a 6-goal lead. There's 6 players in Adelaide's forward line. There's no suggestion of flooding at this stage unless that happens when the ball is bounced. But it's a traditional forward line, and Hawthorn have not made any changes in their forward line. They've still gone with Barker, Thompson and Crode as their big players.
So if the Crows win, they're in the finals this year. If the Hawks win, they're in the top 4 tonight. That's what they're playing for right now.
Big ask for the Hawks. They trail 4-5 to 10-7. 38 points is the margin. As we begin the last term here at Football Park, some desperation shown by Byrne. He can't quite break away. Got the ball clear eventually to Edwards. Edwards off the left has coughed it up. Good mark taken by McCabe. Running with the flight of the ball. Kicks it into the pocket. Out in front of Rock. It goes past Nigel Smart and his opponent John Barker.
And fellas, much to Hawthorn's, here comes the rain.
Well, it's got to make it just a little bit more difficult. There's your young Loney, and might have been Brett Johnson there warming the bench for the Hawks at the start of this last term. Ben Hart kicks it back. No mark taken by Green. Bickley threw the ball away. The umpire very much on the scene saw that, and the free kick will go to Anthony Rock.
Gee, how important is an early goal?
I mean, what that will do, Graham, it'll give them that momentum to really lift and go up a cog, because they're going to need to.
Rock's kick. Danger area as far as Adelaide is concerned. Ball comes out to Barlow. He's ridden into the ground, and eventually the umpire will call for a bounce about 35 metres out from the Hawthorn goal. They trail by 38 points. Adelaide 10-7, Hawthorn 4-5. Rashudo, we believe, is in the forward 50 for Adelaide. He's been pretty good for most of the game, 19 possessions. But the stage is back on the half-forward line here for the Hawks. Vandenberg gets rid of his opponent, which was McLeod. Kicks in towards full forward. Thompson couldn't take the mark. In after it, Osborne. Shirley there. Was Osborne held?
Oh, they're saying he's hold. There's a free kick there.
Umpire very much on the scene. He did have the football in his area, I thought.
Robert Shirley is tagging him. They've been on well, it's actually, you can see Tyson Edwards' left hand had a handful of jumper. The umpire's in the right spot.
Well,
probably get away with that normally, but
this is the youngster from Labrador in Queensland. And he's done a good job, hasn't he? Well done, a goal to the Hawks.
We won this game, but have the Kiwis found one they can beat us at?
Oh, fantastic.
Experts at making money.
Ah!
Well done, buddy.
They show you how to turn $10,000 into a fortune.
$250 cash. The deal.
Aussies battling the clock.
But wait, there's more.
And the Kiwis. See how to get rich quick.
Well, that's not a word.
The premiere special, The Money Game. Tonight, 7:30 on 7.
Well, Michael Osborne gets that first goal. This is a pretty significant moment for AFL footy, you know. This is a kid from the northern, from Queensland, getting his first chance with a Victorian team and playing a role at this stage.
Gee, Vandenberg was good to get rid of McLeod, which set it up in the finish. But we're watching back as a result of the centre bounce. Mark Stevens and Kane Johnson trying to clear that little bit of congestion, and they are unsuccessful. The umpire's going to pay a free kick. Who's on the bottom?
No, that's
unbelievable.
I can't agree with that. Gee whiz.
Well, they need a break. Let's have a look at it. He's gone after the ball, and now how could he get rid of that?
Well, the kick is going to be marked by Mark Stevens.
And what a game he is playing.
How you pluck a free kick out of there in controversial circumstances is beyond me. It might be the rules say that, but gee, there's got to be an area where the umpires can give the player on the bottom of the pack a little bit of benefit of the doubt.
I don't think you'll make the distance here, boys. That wind's very strong.
That's the grey area of Australian rules football, the interpretation of holding the ball when the players are on the ground going for it. They've got to sort it out. But we shouldn't let that take our attention from Mark Stevens, who's been in tremendous form and has done a good job here.
He's kicked a couple of goals. He'll land the ball in the square. Good mark.
Very good mark.
Excellent mark taken by Wren. He put himself in front and he stood tall.
The crowd letting him know about it too.
10-7 to 5-5, 32 points the margin. And we have played exactly 4.5 minutes of the last term. Wren to play on. To go to the members' side of the ground. Gathered there by Eccles. He kicks it back. And no mark taken. Gathered here by Rashudo. He'll kick A behind.
That opened up for him. The goal's opened up. He tried to bend the ball. It was almost a banana kick. Perhaps the drop punt was the go, but he's burst through. Just didn't quite have enough angle to use the banana kick.
Graham, where's the huddle gone?
Well, I think they're using it smartly now, Kills. They'll use it on occasions, but they're mixing it up, which is confusing the opposition defence at times.
If it's not a mark, it's a free kick to Rawlings.
What they haven't done, Hawthorn, in the last couple of kickoffs is exploit it. They've had the breeze behind them, and the last couple of kicks have been poor. Now they get out of it here because there's a free kick. They've got to make better use of their kickoffs.
Leckis has got to have a go. He gets a front posse. Couldn't take the mark. Ball goes back to the middle. Important possession. Kick it off the ground, Sean. He didn't. He tried to gather it. McCabe under pressure. In goes Bickley. Shares it with Eccles. Eccles in towards half forward. And that was an important turnover in the middle of the ground when Sean Wren couldn't gather the ball.
Some footballers think they're cheating when they kick it off the ground.
Perry towards Johnson. Still a chance. Johnson got back up. Gathered the ball and kicked a goal. Well done, Kane Johnson.
What are you doing, kids?
Oh, I'm trying to win a Ford Explorer.
Yeah, that sounds like a great Father's Day present.
It sure does.
Get into Mitre 10 for your chance to win the ultimate Father's Day gift, a Ford Explorer.
Look at this family deal. You get your choice of 2 large McDonald's burgers plus 2 cheeseburgers, 9 McNuggets, family server fries and a bottle of Coke, only $14.95. What a meal!
What a deal!
That's my boys.
Kane Johnson.
Oh, well, I agree with you, Tony. I think that just the fact that he was dispossessed earlier in that contest, wasn't he? He got straight back onto his feet and got the ball back and kicked the goal.
Interesting, Hawthorn have got Lord back in their defensive position. Lord, one of their very, very good goal kickers. 33 goals before today's game. Back in defence.
Go forward again, do the Crows through Eccles. Towards Jarman. He's looking for the free kick. And the umpire will bounce right in front of the Adelaide goal, only 25 metres out.
Yeah, Andrew Eccles has come off the bench and has been very, very good. And we see Rhett Biglands and Tyson Stenglein. Peter Vardy hasn't had a run yet. Burton and Biglands were their 2 best players in the first half.
They were too.
As well as Simon Goodwin, but they're benched.
McLeod to Goodwin. Back it goes to Eccles. Gives away to Rashudo. Rashudo to the goal front. No mark taken there by Hay. Byrne. Jarman will kick a goal, won't he? No, Darren Jarman won't kick a goal. He's missed off to the left.
He's made very few mistakes for the day, Hayes. Had an excellent game. Just coughing that ball up then, and Jarman capitalising on the opportunity. Unfortunately, not kicking the goal.
There's something pressing about Adelaide, though. They appear to have the game in control.
Well, they've lifted up a cog, Graham, haven't they? Under the pressure of that first goal by the Hawks.
17 possessions to Jonathan Hay. Darren Jarman, 6 kicks, 1 handball, 1 goal, 1. Perry has the ball. Gets pretty good distance. Hooks it into the pocket. Jarman appealing or playing for the free kick, maybe. Back after it goes McLeod. Little kick by McLeod's pretty good.
Kane Johnson.
What about the control off the left boot there by Andrew McLeod? He's been well contained, just 16 possessions, a couple of magnificent goals early in the game, but that kick was good.
That's class of 2 classy players there. Sorry, Curls.
No, can you see a reason why the Crows have suddenly taken over the game? Hawthorn had control over there for a while.
Look, people think you're talking airy-fairy concepts. I'll come back in a minute and talk about that.
Good kick by Johnson. Oh, gee, was lucky to get a hand on there. Maybe Luke McCabe forcing a rush behind to the Crows.
It's often to do with the fact that Hawthorn are in at 3/4 time. They're coming home with the breeze. They think the breeze will do some of the work. Adelaide's huddle know that we've got a lead. We have to hang on, but we have to find a bit more. So I think it's almost that psychological process where they found a bit more, whereas Hawthorn have maybe subconsciously relaxed, and therefore Adelaide have been able to gain an ascendancy.
Joel Smith to kick in, gets pretty good distance with the kick.
Oh, good mark.
Good mark taken by Crode. Has he been paid? No, the man in front has been paid the mark. Yeah. And I agree with, might have been you, Bruce, that mentioned about Mark Stevens' contribution. Not big stats, but by gee, he does a lot of work in and under, and he provides some sort of a contest. That kick has been well marked. Goodwin, best man on the ground, in my opinion. He's kicked 2 goals, and he'll come up now for his 29th possession and will nail it for Adelaide.
Well, Adelaide. The Crows... Sorry, Graham, go on. Their work rate has improved significantly. One of the other good things, Graham, about the Crows forward line is they've got defensive players who've pushed forward. I mean, Stevens has gone forward, Johnson is playing forward, and they've got good defensive tactics at that kick out. Then we saw they were able to control the ball, keep it in the areas. The zone's working well for them.
Yeah, well, the zone is working, and Simon Goodwin, the second really strong mark he's taken in front of the pack.
41 points. Good kick. Wasn't that an emphatic kick at the football? Goal!
At these prices, don't miss being a part of the action at Repco.
Nava, twin and triple air horns, twin $35.95, triple $39.95. Mobil, premium motor oils, 5 litre Mobil 1 $49.95, 5 litre Synth S $27.95. Trico, premium metal back wiper refills, $9.95 a pair. Chino seat covers, genuine sheepskin, 3 colours available at just $99 a pair.
At Repco, we know what it is, we know where it goes.
Well, they talk about Darren Jarman being the Rolls Royce, but there's a lot of similarities about the way Simon Goodwin moves, the balance he has and the skills. He just happens to be a left footer. Darren Jarman is the right foot, but he's had a great impact on this game for the Crows.
47 points the margin. Rengett got the ball down to Rock, and Anthony Rock's kick has been marked by Lekas. Goes across the line, gee, a bit risky. Oh, Edwards just a little late. Mark is taken by Stephen Green. This is the biggest margin between these two teams for the day. Adelaide got out to a 32-point advantage at quarter time.
Andrew Eccles.
He's played well, Graham. I think it was pointed out a little while ago. 12 possessions.
Well, they've taken Burton off and put Eccles on.
They've had about 40 between them.
Goodness, let's work that out.
Put them together, they've got a good one-man game.
Burton had 19 possessions. Eccles has had, what? Eccles has had 13. It's 32.
So he's got it again, and he's kicked it towards the wing. Mark Stevens bumped off the ball by Johnny Barker. Nigel Smart is, well, he's stuck to his guns, but he hasn't been the normal Nigel Smart.
He's been reliable, though, and he has done jobs on important players as a stopping player. We certainly haven't seen him run off today, but he has played a good stopping game.
Barker with 11 possessions, and Nigel Smart from that point of view, I guess, is, but Barker, limited opportunities. Here's Bassett with the football. He's tackled, but that tackle, not rewarded.
In fact, Robbie, there's a bit of a theory going around with Nigel that he's a better player given a job before on a game on a high-quality player. When he's played half-back roles and wing roles where he's been able to do his own thing and push forward and run, it's nearly that accountable game which is making him play well. Kerry and Kutafidis, two players he's done jobs on the second half of the year.
Lekas try to force the ball forward. Umpires found a free kick, and it will go to Lekas. Andrew Coates, the officiating umpire. And it may be because that was not necessary.
Yeah, well, it just fell on top of him, really, and it's in the back.
Lekas kicks the ball to the goal square. Smart couldn't take the mark. Down there is Barlow. Goal will be kicked by Aaron Lord, and the Hawks get a belated goal.
Nearest 7 save, thanks, mate.
Just make it $1, sunshine.
Well, the Hawks pull back to within 39 points. The kick out of the middle for Adelaide came from Goodwin. That's his 30th possession. McLeod's handball. Bickley dispossessed. Just a little bit of toe poking in there. Stevens tried to get it clear. Smith, Graham. Graham kicks it out towards the wing. Now an important possession. Very important. It's taken here by Crode. And a big booming torpedo by Trent Crode goes all the way. Nigel Smart's little toe poke. And working very, very industriously back there was Mark Stevens. No, it's young Shirley, is it, back there with Nigel Smart? And he found, at least from a Crow's point of view, the safety of the boundary line.
Nigel Smart got a very important hand to that ball as it came. It looked like he was going to clear the pack. It didn't. He just managed to get his hand to it, and it dropped to the front of the pack, and they were able to push it out of bounds.
Hawks a chance to score. Goodwin, Ben Hart, good spotting. Eccles again. They'll get that 40 possessions between them, Burton and Eccles, Graham.
They will.
Keep counting while we watch the footy.
This bloke will get 40 by himself.
He will too. Goodwin receiving from Hewitt in towards half forward. Brilliantly roped off the pack by McLeod. Unselfishly. And well done by Jonathan Hay. Just to get a hand on the football and spoil the attempted mark from Jarman.
Jonathan Hay, what a defensive game he has had. It was a great kick from Andrew McLeod.
Why do they do that then, yet they jump in quickly and give a 50-metre penalty against a player who's using abusive language?
Do not start.
They've got to get in there and talk to those players. I mean, they are all men playing the game. Get in and just have a talk to them and tell them to keep the rubbish to themselves. Get on with the game. Rock trying to desperately get the ball forward for the Hawks. Vandenberg, Johnson, McLeod from Bickley. McLeod! Oh, just missed to the right. 2 goals, 3 to Andrew McLeod. His 2 goals early were quite scintillating football.
He's had 19 possessions, which is probably a bit quiet for him, but the 2 goals are valuable. Richard Vandenberg, you'd say, has done a pretty good job on him. Just the 7 possessions to Vandenberg, but McLeod looks so dangerous every time the ball goes forward for Adelaide.
Kick in. Oh, good mark. Stevens. Terrific mark taken by Stevens. Handball away to Eccles. Eccles into the pocket. Oh, that's a free kick.
That's cool.
It's against McKay, but it'll be taken by Bickley.
Well, in the run into the finals...
Just watch this. All he has to do is run until he tries to turn, but he'd made contact with Mark Bickley before he did that. It was a pretty crude attempt.
Andrew Eccles is going to be an important player for the Crows. He's missed a lot of the year. He's had a terrific game today on a wing. He finds space well. He's had success at the MCG. An excellent young player.
Bickley goes for goal, and across the face, helped over by the Hawks defence for a behind to Adelaide. So they're 12-12-84, and they lead Hawthorn 6-5-41. A margin of 43 points with 9 minutes left.
And the defensive zone on the kick-off confronting now.
They've actually gained...
Joel Smith kicking off.
They've gained a lot from this today, Graham. It's worked extremely well. They've made the most of it. Hawthorn have really struggled to get it out of there, and they've kept the ball inside the 50-metre area.
Hawthorn are trying to bring it the attacking side, so Adelaide have stacked numbers this side as well.
Good punch away by Perry, it may have been. Osborne came from Mark Stevens. Working underneath there is Osborne. That might be out on the full off a Crow's boot. Rashudo, maybe.
It was. Osborne did well to pick it up, knocked it forward, and there was an accidental kick out of bounds.
Vardy in a loss situation here, coming on with 8 minutes left. The team controlling the game by 43 points.
Michael Osborne, play on.
Plays to his own advantage.
Just ran over the line.
Ran over the line, did he, Curls? Thanks.
He just had the ball just outside the line.
Here he goes, just watch it.
Tell you what,
touch and go,
you're not bad, Curls, from where you were.
But you...
No, I'm right in line. It was just over.
Oh, he had his right foot on the line and kicked it with his left. Unbelievable. But anyway, that free kick, or not free kick, the boundary throw-in has taken place. McLeod has crumbed it beautifully. Kicked the ball up towards full forward again. Jonathan Hay gets a fist to it. Vardy into the action very quickly. Still Peter Vardy. Obst to Luke McCabe. McCabe kicks the ball back towards the wing. No mark. Where are the crummers here? It's Rashudo. Little kick good. Very good.
Well,
Johnson is marked.
Robert, they've been very good in the air today. Guys like Hewitt, Stevens and Perry, Bassett in the back half as well. They're always making a contest.
Burton and Biglan's both getting ready to come back on.
With that kick, that educated kick from Mark Rashudo, you wonder how he missed the goal, don't you? You know, earlier in the quarter when he ran in and couldn't drop it on his boot with any precision.
Different pressures, different balance.
The man with the ball now is an important player for this side. He can go back and do a job, and he finds space inside 15, kicks goals.
Not a bad kick either. Good distance, wasn't it, Tony?
Just amazes me how he can find space all the time.
2 goals, 1 to Kane Johnson.
Some real depth in the Adelaide team at the moment, as we can see. And then we see Burton and Biglan's waiting to come back on. You'd have to, with 7.5 minutes to go, you'd have to say, why? They've had a good solid first half. You bring them on for another 7 minutes when the team is pretty much in control. Let Ben Marsh have a good hit out.
Joel Smith to himself, and then out towards the one-on-one, which was Loney and Edwards. Ball to the back. Rock back to Loney. Nice hand pass to Lord. Lord should go very long and try and clear the players back there. In his endeavours to get distance, he hooked a kick. Smart would be reasonably satisfied. Forcing a boundary throw in there. John Barker just a little disappointed with that delivery from Aaron Lord.
Marsh replacing, Biglan's replacing Marsh. He's done a pretty good job, Marsh.
Yes.
Wren coming off the ground, 2 Curls by the look of it.
Yeah, he's had a good game, Rennie.
Yeah, 11-2, 8 marks, 7 hit-outs to Sean Wren.
Conditions have suited him well, though. I mean, if you're going to ask Sean Wren what type of day would he want, it would be a swirly breeze type of day.
A thinker's day,
he can play kick behind the play.
He's a surprisingly good wit with a footballer too.
He's a thinker.
Bounce of the ball right in front of the Hawthorn goal. They're striving for their 7th goal. They've got a chance too. Lekas goes back to Johnson. Johnson's kick is all right. Mark is taken by Loney.
It's a beautiful kick. Both the Loney boys are so beautifully balanced. And he's got the breeze behind him. It's going to be over his right shoulder. So that's
Nigel Smart in a bit of strife there.
I think Nathan Bassett came over the top of the ruck contest. May have collected him.
Nathan Loney's 3rd game, and he may kick his 2nd career goal. He does. Good kick. Good finish.
Who's the one person that can get those housemates to expose their true feelings?
Oh no! I've been waiting for this one.
Monday night, a Weakest Link special event.
This is revenge.
3 months in the house was easy. But can they survive 1 hour with Cornelia?
Things have gone rotten for you.
Finally, the claws come out. A special Weakest Link Housemates Revenge. Monday, 7:30.
Come on, Cornelia.
I don't think so.
Here's what's Nigel Smart. Bang, he's taken by his teammate who's intent to get to the ball. Looks like he might just be winded. He's up and around now.
Well, just speaking there about Nathan Loney kicking his 1st goal in this game. Had a little bit to do with his father, Ken, at the McKinnon Football Club. And Ken, you'd be pretty proud of both boys, Ryan and Nathan. And Mark Rashudo to try and clear from the centre bounce. Eccles again. Bickley just hacks the kick towards half forward. Gathered here by Green. No one really to kick to, so he's got to just kick quickly over his left shoulder. and finds the safety of the boundary line, so it will be thrown in on centre wing. The margin, 38 points, was exactly the margin between these two teams at three-quarter time.
Yes, but the difference is Adelaide going into a very stiff breeze.
Green gathers, nearly run down, got the kick away, not too bad actually. Johnson for Hawthorn, in towards the forward 50. Where are the Crummers? At the back of the pack, Rock. Couldn't take it. Barker, he can't take the football with him. Bassett gets it to Shirley. Well tackled by Barker, got the hand pass away. Smart. Now Edwards. Little kick by Edwards is all right, and it's taken out there by Biglands.
That back line has combined extremely well for the Crows today, both defensively and offensively. One of the great things of the side and the premiership sides, their back line was very strong. Looks good today as well.
The one thing about today is that it hasn't been an attacking back line, though, Tony, has it? It's been a really dour defensive unit that's stayed pretty much at home and frustrated the Hawthorn forwards.
In that little passage of play, Simon Goodwin gained another possession. The kick went forward, and Thompson and McLeod, the respective number 23s, vie for the football. It's not clear for a boundary throw-in.
Crowd 42,827 today, so in difficult conditions. Looked terrible before the game opened up nicely in the second half. Excellent crowd.
Vardy gathers the tap there that came from Nathan Thompson. The kick forward, still Jarman, searching for an opportunity late in the game. Graham run down, well done by Mark Stevens. Graham's hand pass goes down towards the wing. Rock is well tackled, but he's able to spill the ball out the back. Johnson for Hawthorn gathers and kicks it forward. No mark taken. Oh, brilliant football by Ben Hart. Brilliant football to keep the ball in front of himself and then gather and deliver to Burton. Burton's kick, high, lands it close to the wing. Vardy, an attempted knock-on in his endeavours, maybe. Who infringed there?
Well, he looked like he was simply going for the ball. He was in a spoil. He came over the top, but the umpire says over the shoulder, but yeah, oh well. Genuine effort to get the ball, I would have thought.
Might have actually been on Stevens in the prior play to Vardy getting to the contest.
Well, it couldn't have been on Stevens because he did nothing, really.
Edwards at the bottom of that pack. We watched Perry come on for Mark Stevens, and I think the fans really have spotted that, haven't they? The value of Mark Stevens to the Adelaide side. They're a chance to gather here, and it's kicked forward by Bickley. Ben Hart is still a very, very good player, Ben Hart. Johnson grabbed round the neck. That's a free kick, isn't it? Surely. Johnson at right half forward. He goes short, and the mark is taken by the bloke who just came on the ground, Brett Burton.
Kane Johnson as a permanent half forward flanker, which he's pretty much done, has been superb today.
And here's this bloke again.
Well, Burton found plenty of the ball. Spent a fair bit of the last half on the bench.
What about this fella?
Simon Goodwin.
He's just played a terrific game, hasn't he?
He's just taken his 8th mark. I'm sorry, it's his 3rd mark.
Gee, I think they're around the wrong way, aren't they, those handballs and marks?
Well, he's coming in for his 24th kick. He's had 8 handballs, 6 tackles, and they've accredited him with 3 marks. I can remember all 3 of them, which is unusual.
Well, his last kick for goal was just such a beautiful kick with wonderful penetration. You wouldn't reckon he'd have any problems here. He doesn't. He drops it on his boot beautifully.
Porsche, Audi, BMW offer a Tiptronic-style transmission, as does an Australian-constructed high-performance car. Magna VRX with sports mode.
Big individuals. Eccles 17 possessions, Rashudo 24, Johnson 20, Bickley 22, Burton 19, McLeod 20, 19 to Edwards, 17 to Bassett, 16 to Hewitt. Individuals for Adelaide. On the other hand, the Hawks, well, they've only got 4 or 5 with double-digit kicks in their team. And all of that amounts to a big difference on the scoreboard. The Crows have had 14 more scoring shots than the Hawthorn side, 26 to 12.
I mean, Robert, one of the things about Hawthorn, you know, with Chick and Crawford out, you've got two quality midfielders amongst the best in the competition not out there. You throw them into the side, and the whole dynamics of who places pressure on who changes. The Hawks have been forced to go defensive to a degree because they've got quality midfielders out of the side.
I think another player that they definitely need in their best 22 is Ben Dixon. Gee, that was a good mark, wasn't it?
Mark.
Terrific mark taken by Rawlings.
Well, Rawlings and Hay. Yeah, Hay's been sensational. Rawlings has had a great battle with Mark Stevens.
This young fellow is a bit of a ball magnet. Johnson gathers and then kicks down towards the wing where Rock takes the mark. 6 minutes left. Crows fans here at Football Park are pretty aware that the result is not in doubt.
They're in the finals. It didn't look likely. It looked unlikely 4 weeks ago. Now it looks as though it should never have been in doubt.
Well done by Osborne there at Graham. And it's going to result in a goal to Stephen Green. The Hawks get one back.
Well, it's a good result for young Stephen Green. And young Osborne as well, playing his first game. And as we've mentioned before, did the hard work, got it out to Crody. And Greenie running forward off the wing. He's been busy since he's come on in the second quarter. That goal caps off a pretty busy game for him. He's 13 possessions in the time he's been on, and he's a young fella. Father-son pick, and he'll get better and better as the years progress.
A good learning curve, I'm sure, for young players coming over here to Football Park, as it was in days gone by, players travelling across the Nullarbor to play the West Coast when the West Coast were on top of everything. I'm sure that coaches would come back having taught players a terrific lesson. And this is Byrne. Goodwin again. Vardy. Perry. Left foot kick by Perry, lands the ball in the pocket, and the mark is taken back there by Rawlings.
So Peter Vardy involved twice in that movement as well. Another player, along with Eccles and Burton, who have missed a lot of games during the year, but are quality players, premiership players, two of them, be important come finals time this year.
I mentioned that there was probably about 6 minutes left just a short time ago, but our clock is apparently a little faulty. There's only about a minute left now in the game, and all the scoring will be done by Adelaide by the look of it. Ian Perry is marked. Again, a difficult shot because the wind is blowing right in his face.
It's been serviceable today, Perry. He hasn't found a lot of space. One thing about him, though, he does contest hard, and that's why he's in this side. He makes the contest inside 50, brings the ball to the ground for the crumbing players.
Good kick. Lands the ball just the other side of the goal square. Jarman. Oh, dear me. He would have got a little excited there if he'd have been able to pop that one through, Tony.
Huh? It hasn't been a big day for Darren.
He's been frustrated.
Yeah, he has been.
Needs something to give him a lift.
Gee, nothing for Rawlings. He's got to go short, and it's okay. The mark is taken by Barlow in front of Ben Hart. Barlow is one of the goal contributors from a Hawthorn point of view. They've been few and far between. Aaron Lord has kicked a couple, and the singles have come from Thompson, Barker, Nathan Loney, Stephen Green, Chris Barlow and Michael Osborne. Adelaide go back in towards half forward, gathered by Jarman. Handball off. Ben Hart kicks it forward, and there is the siren. So the Hawthorn fans would be a little disappointed. They've watched one of their former stars coach the Adelaide Crows into the finals for the year 2001.
And typically serious and stoic. It's been a hard year for Gary Ayres, but they have responded for him in the best possible way over this last month. They are playing tough, aggressive football as they did all year, but there's an attacking flair and a balance about them which looks a bit ominous coming into the finals.
First time ever that two South Australian teams in the finals in the 1 year. Port Adelaide already up there and the Crows with them now. So the Hawks go out of the top four for the first time since round one. They went down fighting. It was a good toss for Adelaide to lose, as it turned out. They kicked 3-6 into the breeze of the last quarter to 4 goals. Let's go down and join Neil Curley.
Yeah, thanks, Bruce. Well, Simon, it was such an important game, and the team came up the goods.
Yeah, you know, we've been working on that over the last month. These crunch games, you know, we just want to win them all, and, you know, we're hungry at the moment.
From a personal point of view, you seem to be coming into your very, very best. Another great game today.
Yeah, you know, it's great drifting forward and getting a few goals, but, you know, you've got 22 contributors, you know, the last 4 weeks, and it's fantastic to have so many blokes contributing.
Guys, Eccles came on today, gives you another one. Burton's starting to find touch. You boys are priming yourself up pretty good.
Yeah, no, we're feeling pretty confident about ourselves. You know, we've just got to remain focused, and, you know, we've got another week to go before, you know, we go into the final, so we're just about to get there.
And you're going to taste final success again.
Oh, it's fantastic.
All the best. Back to you, boys.
It's only the 4th time the Crows have been in the final since they came in 1991, so 2 premierships in 97, 98. Cornsey, you took them to a preliminary final in 1993. So it's been they haven't done it every year. I mean, this is a real big moment in the lives of these young players, and I think for the fans here as well.
Well, and the players acknowledging that this is possibly the last game they play at Football Park unless they get a home final. They've wandered over to the members and given them a wave. The members have responded as well, but there's lots of work to be done here, Bruce. Finals are a huge adventure, and Malcolm Blight took them on a fantastic journey, and a lot of the players here were part of that, and they'll understand that there's nothing special about finals if you approach them the right way. If you can succeed in them, you can make them truly special.
Let's go down to Neil Curl. It's a great day for Gary Ayres, Curls.
Yeah, thank you, Bruce. Well, Gary, this has been on your mind, this one. This was your must-win game.
Yeah, it was, Neil. Obviously, the results that occurred yesterday with Carlton and Collingwood, and obviously last night with the Power and the Bulldogs, this was a must-win, and, you know, we achieved that in probably workmanlike fashion, I suppose. We dominated, I think, in general play, but, look, I'm happy that we've won, and hopefully we can get some momentum.
I said to Simon Goodwin, you've got some options coming back. Some of the players are giving you added depth.
Yeah, they do, and I thought Kane Johnson going into the forward line too was a move that we got some positivity out of, so we can keep those options available to us. Perhaps it makes it a bit more difficult for the opposition to cover.
Well done, all the best.
Thanks, Gary.
Thanks, Curls. Only defeat for Crows in the last 5 matches was the showdown. It's the only game they lost, and they went down screaming that day, didn't they? So their form's good.
There's something special about them, Bruce.
Darren Jarman given the honour, perhaps for the last time playing at Footy Park. Who knows? Back with more after this.
For generations, Mitre 10 has been the place to go for Father's Day gifts, like a deluxe resort lounge only $49.95, or an NRG hammer drill.